Shabbat Shalom, Mishpacha, awesome tribes of Israel. Happy Sabbath to all of you. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening all across the planet. This is Rabbi Simon Alter Cohen in the gate. Baruch Hashem Yahweh for His mercy and grace and favor upon all the children of Israel, B'nai Israel, all over the world. Lots been happening. I hope that you can hear me loud and clear, although I don't shout to the top of my lungs, but that's the way I speak. So we're going to go over the Parsha Pinchas today, and some of you may remember that we did cover it already once before. We covered it in part because we were following the calendar, Enoch calendar at the time, Hanuk calendar, but today we're going to follow, as we're following the lunar calendar in the Shabbat Parshas. Things got mixed up a little bit, but now we're kind of like gone on to the lunar calendar for the Parshas only. Yet we still follow, because we have a mixture of people. Some follow the lunar calendar for festivals, others of us follow the Hanuk calendar. So there sometimes might be a little confusion. Shouldn't be too much confusion, because you can do either or. Being in the diaspora, there is no hard requirement that you have to follow the Hanuk calendar. You can follow the lunar calendar or you can follow the Hanuk calendar. Either is fine, whatever works with your schedule, which is great. Now let me see. So we're going to look at the Parshas Pinchas. I was going to say if Rabbi Kefa has any updates to give on anything going on at his end regarding anything that's happening. But what I can tell you, okay, that's great. What I can tell you is Shabbat Shalom, Rabbi Zachariah. What I can tell you is that we did post some Bibles and Siddurs to Ghana, and they did acknowledge receipt of those Bibles that was sent. Now whether they make any use of those, that's another matter. It's really another matter that you can have all the Bibles and all the books you want, and if you don't make use of the knowledge, the right knowledge at the right time, then it's really of no use to you. And I did tell those people that it's no good that you just keep asking us for free books and free Bibles, yet none of you ever tithe, none of you ever follow any dictates of the Torah. So what good is it to you? I told them straight. I said that it's not going to do you any good, because you don't know the law and you don't follow the law. So just having a Bible in your little temple or a little church that you built, it's not going to do any. It's not going to run any magic, because you got to follow the commandments, and you got to obey the commandment, and you got to do the commandments to actually get anywhere with it. So I had to give them a little bit peace of my mind, because they're getting nowhere in their life, and they won't get anywhere either, because they are being in that stink hole for the last 10 years that I know of, and got nowhere. Oh, absolutely. Thank you, Daniel. Yes, I do have that marked. The discuss about the children. I definitely will. Now, I was going to look at my notes, see if there was a joke as well. Yeah, there's a little joke. Let me just read you the little joke. Okay, a priest and a rabbi and a minister are flying together to an ecumenical convention. In mid-flight, the plane encounters turbulent weather. The captain comes on the intercom. "We've run into a major electrical storm," he announces. "I don't know if we are going to make it. I urge each of you to pray in your customary manner." The rabbi chants, "Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad." The minister sings, "O God, our help in ages past, our hope for years to come, our shelter from the stormy blast, and our eternal home." The priest recites, under the B 7, under the I 22, under the N 39. So that was the joke. Give me a second. Let me just get myself in order over here. Then I will talk to you. Let me just send a message quick. Okay, so let's see. Now, I saw a movie yesterday, like it was a documentary. It was sent to me by one of my stock market mentors, and he said, watch this movie because it has a lot of good information regarding gold. And it's a fantastic movie. I sent a link to Rabbi Kefa as well to have a look at it, and I would highly recommend you to look at it. Those of you who like to know about the deals going on around our world regarding this yellow metal or the silver metal, because gold and silver are really part and parcel of Israel, have been part and parcel of Israel's history as well, because not just one of I guess many of our kings, including King David, but King Solomon is the most well known for gold and silver and copper. So the movie is called The Secret World of I think it's called The Secret World of Gold. Let me just double check the title, see if I can find it. Was it The Secret World of Gold? Let's see. Secret something. Let me just double check it. So here's a link. Let me just get what is it called? The Secret World of Gold. Yeah, so there's a Secret World of Gold. I guess I could put the link. I don't know if maybe I can put the link into here. Let me try and put the link in. Okay, so I put the link in. You may want to copy it and look at it later, after the class. That'd be fine. Have a look at it, because this will give you about a couple of 100 years of history of gold, and why is it that nations collect gold and what they do with it, and how the so-called legal lawmakers of this world today actually abuse the law as well. So be very careful about what you think about your governments. They usually are not 100% in their dealings, and including the banks. So I thought it was a well worth little video that he sent me, and it's worth looking at it. It's got a lot of good historical information in it regards Olivier France as well. France also been in the wheeling and dealing, and our president didn't have nice words for France. I remember this morning he wasn't very happy with the digital tax. And that's right, Daniel. This is a good little movie. I think there's a couple of them out there. I believe one is in a male voice, and this is probably in a female voice. So you may want to look at it, those of you who haven't seen it, because it's good to have this kind of information just for knowledge. It's good for knowledge. Like I said, that information, if it's not used, knowledge is only power when it's properly used and utilized. Now, I guess I can give you a testimony of somebody. I won't name names over here, because names are to be kept private. I want to give a testimony, and I want to give gratitude and glory to the Master of the Universes, Yahweh Himself, who is known to many as Yahushua or Jesus of Nazareth. I give glory because I was able to utilize a little known secret that we utilized in what I call the priestly magic. I was able to utilize a little priestly magic and bring some favor in somebody's life who will remain unknown for the near foreseeable future. And that person, I wanted to touch that person's life a little bit, so that he or she, again it will remain anonymous, whether it's a he or a she, wanted to acquire something of real value. In other words, we always talk about the spiritual, but sometimes we like to see the physical. So physically, on the physical front, this person acquired, after my little priestly magic that is going to remain with me, probably pass on to my children's children, and likely pass on to his children's children as well, is that or her, this knowledge was able to help that person acquire serious pile of wealth. And it may not seem like much to some people, but I think it was a significant amount, to the tune of around $68,000. So that's the kind of magic that we can do when we come to it. But I've actually given you better knowledge. I've given you much greater knowledge to apply to your lives and to acquire greater wealth if you really want to apply it. Now, the question is that how many of you are applying it and how many of you are not applying it. That's something that you have to address and ask yourselves. So as I keep saying, as I keep doing, and as I keep reminding, that giving is receiving. When you don't give, you don't receive. Hence why I had to remind the Ghanaian congregation that you receiving Bibles from us is meaningless, and this is the last time I'm sending them, because every time I send out one Bible, it costs $70. Note, $70 of money from here, just one Bible. And what does happen over there? They maybe they use it, maybe they don't use it. They don't even know how to tithe. They don't know how to give Zadaqah. They don't know how to do Sabbath properly. They don't know how to do the festivals. Where do you think that knowledge goes? To nowhere. It's misused. They think it's some kind of magic just to have a book in their shelf. Hence why I had to remind them that without the art, and I say the art, but actually is a commandment. Without the commandment of learning to give, you will not receive either. So I have to be very clear that don't think that just by receiving a Bible you can all become rich and wealthy. You're not. Because you're not following the basic compliance principles that are laid out in the Torah. And Pinchas, this Parsha today is exactly that. It's exactly that what you give is what you receive in return. And don't expect something for nothing. Because God has created all of us. All of humanity is created by God, but we seldom acknowledge that, and seldom do we give thanks to the God that has created us, because many people in our world today refuse to even acknowledge there is a creator. So that's with them. They can have that. That's no problem with me. But like I said, that we got to acknowledge the creator. And I did remind everybody last week that the Siddur is not to be put on your shelves, because I know most of you think, oh hey, we got a little paradigm shift, we can stop doing the Siddur, we don't have to do the hand washing, we don't have to do this, we don't have to do that prayer. No, that is not true, because you have never heard it from me saying that the Siddur is defunct or outdated. The Siddur is still valid, the prayers still need to be done. You still walk out with your left foot and you walk in with your right foot. Everything is still valid. If you're going to be ignorant and you're going to do like the Gentiles, then so be unto you. That'll be your take. But I'm going to say that everything that has been put in that book is good as gold and must be followed and obeyed. When you travel, you do your traveler's prayer. When you eat, you do your little blessing, even if you do it in your mouth. You don't have to, tell the world that you're blessing your food. When you bless your water, when you go to sleep, everything is still valid in that book. Hence why it's a must to have. It's a must to have for those people who want to have any type of compliance to the Torah. They should actually carry that with them wherever they go. That's my recommendation. With that, the other thing is this, that we're going to come back to because we did discuss water last week. If you remember, I spoke about water and I said that water must be rested before you drink it, and it must be blessed. And we have very simple blessing in our Siddur, which is to the tune of, I'll read the English. Well, I'll say the English. Blessed are you, Yahweh Elohim, or blessed are you, Hashema Elohim, King of the universe, who has created through His word. It's very simple. And if you can't remember the long-winded one, you can just say, I give thanks to you, the Lord God of Israel, for this beautiful water. That's it. Very simple. If you don't want to remember the exact words of what I've written, you can just shorten it even further. And if that is too much for you, if you can't remember that, then just say, thank you, God, for this beautiful water. I think it can't be simpler than that. So having said that, we need to remember that these things need to be carried out because they have a meaning and a purpose in our life, and they are not just for fun's sake or let's do it for 2 years and we'll start doing something else, etc. So this is very important that you learn that. And the Parsha, I wanted to look at Parsha a little bit, and I'm going to go there straight off, not to waste time doing other things. Pinchas starts with the book of Numbers, and it starts at and if there's any magic, then my goodness, you need to see the magic of Pinchas, chapters 26. In fact, it starts with chapters 25 and verse 10, where God speaks to Moses, and then he tells him that Pinchas, the son of Eleazar, who is the son of Aaron the Kohen, he says that it was because of him that God's wrath was turned from the children of Israel. So he says, while he manifested much zeal for my sake among them, that I consumed not the children of Israel in my jealousy. Wherefore say, behold, I give to him my covenant of shalom, and he shall have it, and his descendants after him. Let me tell you something that is very important. I am a descendant of not just Pinchas, I'm a direct descendant of Aaron himself, the very high priest that was there, including Moses. They are my direct blood relatives. So he says, and he shall have it, and his descendants after him, even the covenant of an everlasting priesthood. Therefore you have a priesthood in front of you. Priesthood didn't die, it didn't disappear, it didn't vanish into thin air, it's here. It says, because he manifested zeal for his Elohim, zeal for his God, and he made an atonement for the children of Israel. It was because of Pinchas, the priest, that a covering was laid on the children of Israel so that the plague could be stayed. Now, read very carefully what it says. I didn't make those words up. Atonement. Isn't that what Christians tell you that Jesus did for you? That he gave you atonement. Well, if the priesthood gave atonement to the children of Israel, do you seriously think that we have to wait for Yeshua of Nazareth to give us atonement? This is a hard question for many to answer. If Yeshua of Nazareth was to give atonement to the children of Israel, then the children of Israel were walking around like headless chickens with no atonement, which means that Christianity teaches you lies. Total, utter lies. That the atonement for the children of Israel came through the covenants that were given to Abraham, and thus reiterated through the mouth of Yeshua himself. He reiterated those covenants and saying that I came to renew or make new the covenant, or make a new covenant. And so we see here that the priesthood was responsible for the atonement of Israel. Let that be heard very clearly. We, the priests, are responsible for you, the Israelites out there, for your atonement. In other words, what we say and do has a mighty, mighty impact on your lives, wherever you are in the world. And it doesn't matter where you are. So that still stands, by the way. I did not receive a memo from God saying, hey Simon, you're no longer the priest, and you no longer need to atone the children of Israel, you no longer need to pray for them, they don't need your prayers, we have Jesus for them. It doesn't say that anywhere in my Bible, and it doesn't say that in your Bibles either. So remember that where we are today is thanks to what happened through our forefathers and through the priesthood. And it gives you a glimpse of what Pinchas did. It talks about this person who was a prince of the tribe of Shimon, and how he was in a lewd discourse with a woman from the Midianite tribe, an Arab woman, by the way. If you know what Midian means an Arab woman. So it was an Arab woman they was having a little rendezvous with, and Pinchas happened to put an end to that, because that was something at the time wasn't being permitted. It wasn't being done right, in the right way, and it wasn't allowed. And so he came in because of this, God had put a plague upon Israel. Now, maybe to some this might be, it might be, hey, this is only typological. Plague never happened. It is only, this is only word, but that's not true. These things actually happened. The plague happened. This person was killed, and then the plague did stop. And then Pinchas also happened to fight with the magician who was known as Balaam or Balaam and his donkey. he happened to fight with that magician, because he was a magician, he was a good magician, and he was known as a prophet of the Gentiles. So, and he spoke to the God of Israel. So, magicians can speak to the God of Israel too. So he spoke to the God of Israel, and then he was put to death. He was brought down through Pinchas's magic, and he was put to death in front of the elders, and then he was laid to rest, because he was commissioned by Balak to curse Israel, which God had forbidden, that they could not do that. Yet today, then we have a story in here which I think is very interesting, which I didn't touch on last week. In verse 19, we have the story of the sons of Yehudah who were a little bit naughty. It was and Onan. And Onan died in the land of Canaan, and the sons of Yehudah. If you remember and Onan, their story is mentioned in the book of Genesis. And these are the two through whose, Christianity at large takes their story and then bans masturbation. Listen to this very carefully. They use their story and then say masturbation is a sin. However, Torah has no such wording for sin, by the way. And I guess, I don't want to discuss the other part because it's not relevant to this particular subject. And then it talks about the sons of Yehudah after the Mishpachot was Shelach. If you remember, Shelach was the one that was penned for Tamar to be married to her in a Levirate marriage, but it never happened. And then Yehudah ended up becoming the husband of Tamar, and Tamar then gave birth, through whom we had the two twin sons, through whom was one line of the twin sons of Tamar became the royal line of Judah, the royal kingly line of Judah, and the other line was the non-royal line. In other words, they were also Judah, but they were not meant to be kings, which is not commonly known. Commonly, every Tom, Dick and Harry in New York City, and probably, maybe in Florida as well, they all think that they're all Yehudah, they're all kings. But that's not the case. They're not all, they might be all Yehudah, but they're not all kings. Because Yehudah actually follows two lines. And one of the lines is only kingly, and the other line is not kingly. So unless you belong to the kingly line, you cannot say that you have the royal line of Yehudah. That would be a falsehood. That would be a lie. And you'd have to check your credentials and know whether you are the kingly line or whether you are the non-kingly line. So, bearing that in mind, Rabbi Kefa, let me state for the record, he is from the kingly line. How do I know that? Because about 7 years ago, roughly 7 years ago, when I visited Rabbi Kefa in San Antonio from England, I told Rabbi Kefa that he had no sons, no daughters at the time. He was married. I told Rabbi Kefa that he will have sons. He will have a son. And Rabbi Kefa, took it, okay. And I told him, I said, your son is of the kingly line. This is why you're going to have sons. Because your sons, I said, your sons may one day carry the bloodline of the kings of Israel. So don't discount it of not having children. You got to have a son, and you are going to have a son. And that was roughly about 7 years ago. At that time, Rabbi Kefa was married to somebody else, and that marriage did not fare well, which I already knew. It wasn't going to fare well. It was going to go down, and then he was going to acquire a new wife, and then the son was going to come through the new wife. That was information that I withheld, and I can thankfully say that Baruch Hashem Yahweh, that today Rabbi Kefa is going to be the father. When I say today, in next 2 months, Rabbi Kefa will be the proud father of a son. Exactly as I said 7 years ago, Rabbi Kefa questioned me, my wife can't have children, and I said, well, it doesn't matter because it's not coming through her. Whether she can have children or not, it don't matter. So another woman will bring your son. So that son is going to come through the Chinese wife of Rabbi Kefa. And so Baruch Hashem Yahweh for him giving me this testimony. 7 years is a drop in a bucket. And Rabbi Kefa and me probably have a relationship going back maybe more than 10 years now. And but still, I'm happy to report that the Kohen, the priests, do not lie. The priests are not permitted to tell you lies and make up stories and tell you that this is going to happen, it's not going to happen. We can only tell you what's going to happen, and we are not allowed to lie. We have to speak the truth. So whatever God puts in our mouth, at a time we have to say it. Hence why, this is why I wanted to tell you that I was very happy to report that Rabbi Kefa's wife will be having a baby boy September. I don't know the exact dates. Rabbi Kefa probably knows the dates. So I'm very happy, excited for him. I'm very excited that he is going to be a father for the first time. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. What a great moment. I think an excellent moment. Really can't wait. I'm so excited for Rabbi Kefa. And Kefa is not just, I call him Kefa in my off lectures. But Kefa is not just another person. Kefa is my brother. He is my brother from the same mother, and I 100% treat him like my younger brother, nothing less than that. I want that to be known. So having said that, so this story about the sons of Yehuda were and Onan, and and Onan died in the land of Canaan. So God punished and Onan not because they were doing something that the Gentiles or the Christian church falsely teaches as not to be done, but in fact they were killed for disobedience. That's why they were killed, because they were disobedient to their father and to them, and the mother actually didn't really care, because she was a Gentile who converted into Israel. She came from the Canaanite side, and it was that mother that was the downfall of and Onan, and of course I would say Shelah as well. So having said that, so this is why it's very important to have a good pedigree. It's very important to have a good mother and a good father, because a good mother and a good father is what makes you. And if you don't have a good mother and a good father, then my goodness, God help you then. You're not going to have no model to look upon. So this is why all of you who are parents today need to be the best parents to your children, so that you can be a good role model for your children and children's children, so that they can be benefited and blessed in their lives, because you will set the standards that your children will follow. And if you set bad standards, then the children will follow bad standards. So whatever you do, set a standard of Torah, set a standard of the God of Israel in your homes, and set a standard that we belong to the tribes of Israel. Make sure that your children know this thoroughly, and that we are not just here for happenstance. We are light to the nations, and we are to obey the Torah. I don't care if anybody keeps the Sabbath or not, but we are commanded to do so. So we must stick to the parameters of our law that gives life and health and wealth as well. So with that, there was this little story about the two sons, and then if we go on forward within the same parsha of the book of Numbers, in chapters 27, there is another story that's very little read and heard. It's called the story of the daughters of Zelophehad, the son of Hefer, the son of Gilad, the son of Machir, the son of Manasseh, of the families of Manasseh, the son of Joseph. And then it mentions the daughters' names, Machlah, Noach, and Hoglah, and Milcah, and Tirzah. And it doesn't really give too much other information. It just says that they stood before Moses. They came before Moshe, and they before Eleazar the Kohen, the priest, who was Aaron's son, and they said to him, they came to him, they said, our father died in the wilderness, and he was not in the company of them that gathered themselves together against Yahweh in the company of Korah, but died in his own sin. Now, who is this father? Anybody knows who this father was? Maybe I'll give you a little... Because remember, this man died, and the daughters come up to Moses and say, what's going to happen to our inheritance? Because traditionally, the inheritance was given to the sons, and here we only had the daughters left from the father and no son. So the daughters had to come up to Moses and ask for a decision, a judgment, to help them to know that they can actually receive the inheritance. That is correct, Dan. The man who was picking up wood on the Sabbath day, and it wasn't just picking up wood to light a fire, he was picking up wood to work. Maybe he was a carpenter, maybe he was, a house builder. We don't know the exact occupation that this man had, but what he did have was he was, picking up wood to do some work, and it wasn't permitted, and therefore he was killed by God. And so these are the daughters from that man, and they come to Moses, and Moses makes a decision in their favor, which tells you what? Which tells you this, because it says in verse 7, the daughters of Zelophehad speak right, you shall surely give them a possession of an inheritance among their father's brethren, and you shall cause the inheritance of their father to pass to them. So this was something unprecedented in the Torah and our law. In our law, it is not allowed, it is not permitted for us to mistreat women and to take their possessions and to subjugate them and say, I am over you, etc. And a lot of these things happen in the nations, where a woman is seen as a weak vessel, and every Tom, Dick and Harry tries to take advantage of that weak vessel. But we are not supposed to do that. We are supposed to adhere within our parameters of our holy law, and we are supposed to respect women. Because remember what I said earlier, a mother is a very important figure in the Hebrew culture, and she sets the standards of the home for the children and children's children to follow. So therefore we have very different take on women generally, opposed to the nations where women are being beaten up left, right and center, as you hear all sorts of cases of abuses happening even within this country. So beware that we are not to follow those examples. We are to follow examples of mercy, leniency, and loving kindness to all the women that we come across. And so then it speaks about a gathering against in the wilderness of Zin, where it says that God is obviously speaking through Moses. In chapters 27 of Numbers, verse 12, it says that Yahweh said to Moshe, go up into the Mount Avarim and see the land which I have given to the children of Israel. And when you have seen it, you also shall be gathered to your people, as Aaron your brother was gathered. For you rebelled against my commandment in the wilderness of Zin, in the strife of the congregation, to sanctify me at the mine before their eyes, that is the mine of Meribah in Kadesh, in the wilderness of Zin. And Moshe spoke to Yahweh, saying, let Yahweh the Elohim of the Ruchot of all flesh set a man over the congregation, which may go out before them, and which may go in before them, and which may lead them out, and which they bring them in, that the congregation of Yahweh be not as sheep which have no shepherd. And Yahweh said to Moshe, take Yehoshua the son of Nun, a man in whom is the Ruach, and lay your hand upon him. So this idea of laying of hands that Christianity claimed that came from them actually is our idea. We lay hands on our somebody that we are consecrating. And Yehoshua son of Nun was consecrated by Moses. Now question is being asked is why was Yehoshua consecrated? Because Yehoshua was as a known student of Moses, and the reason why he was consecrated was because it is told in our other books, historical books that we carry, that Yehoshua was not only a student, but when the people came before Moses, Yehoshua was doing the menial tasks of gathering the benches, the chairs, make sure people have a place to sit, and water to drink. So what Yehoshua was doing was he was doing all of those menial tasks that other people might consider lowly for a student to do. So he was serving the people. He wanted the people to come, sit down, and just get on with study, because they had tons of questions for Moses, and they would line up, they would queue up to ask questions to Moses. So Yehoshua was a key component who helped Moses in the gatherings to make sure that people had a place to sit, drink to, water to drink. And because of that menial task that's seen as lowly by most people, he was actually granted to become the next chief of commander of Israel. What a great honor! What a great honor for this man. And he was then the next chief of commander for Israel, who of course, as you know, led the next battles of Israel to lead them into the promised land. And Baruch Hashem Yahweh for that. And so we see that after this particular story, I mean, there's a lot of little threads in here, a lot of great threads in this story. And also in chapters 28, we also have the mention of a festival, some of our festivals that were taking place during the time. Like it talks about the day of Bikurim in verse 26 of chapters 28, which is a first fruit festival. It talks about Shavuot, Pentecost, which God says you'll make holy to me, because Pentecost is an important time for our law, our Torah, when God gave us a covenant of Torah for us to follow. And then it talks about some of the sacrifices that were done at the time as atonement. And then in verse 29 it talks about the holy day in the Feast of Trumpets. Feast of Trumpets is mentioned over here, and how that was to be established and followed, etc. And I guess after this, it mentions that, and it goes on towards the end of that parsha. I believe that let's see, it talks about the vows, how people make vows, and free will offerings and burnt offerings, etc., and shalom offerings. Yeah, you can make shalom offerings, by the way, even today. You can send in shalom offerings, any equivalent values which will help you. So chapter 30 is, of course, we'll discuss that next week, Matot. But up to there, a lot of information, incredible information to to talk about and to look at. And I encourage you to read those chapters for yourself today if you have time. Read it and get a thorough understanding, or at least some understanding of your history, this is not just Gentile history. This is our history, your history, my history. And we need to always be abreast, because if we don't know our history, how can we teach anybody else, our children and other people around us? So it's important to know that. So I highly encourage you to do that. Now, of course, we were talking about water, and we will come back to water, because there was something that yes, water. What was it about water that I wanted to say? Coming back to the water now, because children of Israel often complained children of Israel often complained about water. Not enough water, or maybe too much water. So they're always complaining at some point about water. And we also know that our matriarchs, the beautiful women that our forefathers married, they all came through by the waters, either by a well, or by a river, or by a stream. Always, the love stories are made by the water, and hence why water is very important. So one of the things I wanted you to understand is that an idea that is in America, potentially, I don't think this idea may be a little bit in England, but England is a slightly colder country, although it's having a very hot summer this year. But I'm pretty sure a lot of water is being sold over there. But here the average American, is carrying a bottle of water everywhere they go, and they're like constantly sipping water like a fish. So be very careful that don't overdo it. You can overdo water drinking, and you can kill yourself. By the way, I wanted that to be known, because a lot of people are given the blurb about, hey, drink this water and drink that water, but water can kill you. That's what they don't tell you. You see, the media machine churns out water sales because it's good for them. But if you overdrink water, you can kill yourself. You can, because if you drink too much water, let me give you an example of too much water. If you drink too much water, your body, let's say if you were, sitting down and you had 2 glasses of water, you gulped it down, and your body will be able to use what it needed, and it will shun the rest out of the body. It will only use what it needs. And then, but if you did it the other way, if you carried a little plastic water bottle and you kept sipping on it, every 5 minutes you took a sip, and you thought, well, I need water because the doctor said, or because the TV program said that drink 8 glasses a day, then you may actually end up harming yourself. Why? Because your brain, you see, your body has to supply water to different parts of the body, the brain. And absolutely, Lion Princess, because too much water will deplete the body from sodium, and it will end up killing you. So if your brain is depleted of salt, necessary salt, it can end up giving you all sorts of problems. Strokes, heart attacks, blood pressure, all sorts of problems. So I would advise caution that do drink water, but be careful of how much you drink. Don't follow the hype that you have to drink 8 or 10 glasses a day. It's not true. Yes, you can drink steam distilled, but what's important is that when you drink water, drink if you're thirsty. In other words, don't drink if you're not thirsty. If you're not thirsty and you continue to, your little water bottle, you got it attached to your mouth like a baby to a mother's milk, don't do that, because that could harm you. If your body says, I need a drink, then you drink the water. If your body says you don't need a drink, listen to your body. That's all you need to do. Listen to your body, what your body needs. Because your body will tell you if it needs water. The other problem that we have in this country, and we have it in Europe generally, is all these fast foods. McDonald's, burgers and fries and everything. What happens is the foods that you're eating don't have enough water. They are not water rich. Like the burgers that you eat are not water rich. They are very dry, and they lack of water. Whereas if you ate, let's say you ate a turnip will have a lot of water in it. More than 70% will be water. Let's say you had a eggplant will have 70% water. But now turn it around, and let's say you had beef. Well, beef doesn't have 70% water. It's a lot less. So that's also a reason a lot of Americans and generally Europeans suffer from illnesses, because they do not eat enough water-related vegetables. They're eating too many solids. Like if you had bread, because bread is very popular in Europe and probably popular in America as well. Donuts and bread in the morning. My goodness, you go to a Starbucks or a Dunkin' Donuts, and there's queues over there, people buying donuts. And I haven't been to I haven't been to a Dunkin' Donuts for a while now. So when you go to these places, is there like queuing for Dunkin' Donuts, and I can tell you that that's the worst thing you can have for breakfast in the morning, is because a Dunkin' Donuts is bread, and that bread is devoid of water. Water is very little in that bread. And when that goes into your body, it's not healthy for you. So listen to your body and give your body the water it requires, because without the water requirement, you might end up paying the price of costly medical bills. And I know in Europe, you got the National Health Service in some form or another, so you don't end up paying big bills. But I know you have to wait. But by the way, UK, congratulations on your new Prime Minister, Boris Johnson. I hear that you're changing Prime Ministers more than I change my T-shirts. So every few months we have a new Prime Minister. So having said that, it's kind of interesting that there's a new Prime Minister over there, and again, maybe general election soon as well. So see what happens. Brexit is taking its toll. So moving on, I guess. Moving on. Now coming back to the Master Yeshua, and this is something that I know a lot of you, who are following the methods being taught to you. If you purchased my book, The Law of Attraction versus the Perfect Law, which is available at Amazon, if you're following it in any particular length, I can tell you that a lot of people that have followed it have received excellent results in their life, very, very happy, and they're obviously still reeling with the good effects in their life. And some of you also on the personal front have been trying to instruct you and help you, and you're doing well as well, which is great. I wanted to give you a little testimony, Rabbi Zachariah's little testimony. Rabbi Zachariah was telling me that he came one number close to becoming a millionaire. So it's out there for you I was so happy to hear from him that he was one number short. And if I'm not mistaken, Rabbi Zachariah, was it the number 37 or 36 that you had and you were missing one? So, don't think, right, that it's not possible. 37. So, I believe that Rabbi Zachariah was saying that it was a number 37 that was on the ticket or on the actual draw, and he was there by -1. I think he had 36 or something. So, very, very close. That actually, 36 on the ticket. Wow, that is amazing. So to me, that is a sign from the universe that Rabbi Zachariah is right on the ball. In other words, it's coming. It's not going to disappear. It's going to come, but he's going to be on it. Now remember what I told you. And this is where the children will come in. So I wanted you to listen to the children part of the lecture, because this was had remind me, and Daniel kindly reminded me earlier, and I wanted to go to the book of Matthew, chapters 18, and here the discussion ensued. Let me just pull up Matthew chapter 18 in my Bible here, the AFNHSS. Let's see, where are we? Okay, book of Luke. Let's get to book of. Here's the book of Matthew. So in the book of Matthew, chapter 18, the disciples came at the same time to Yehoshua, saying, "Who is the greatest in the kingdom of Shemaim?" And Yehoshua called a little child to him and set him in the midst of them, and said, "Verily I say to you, except you be converted and become as the little children, you shall not enter into the kingdom of Shemaim." What a great statement. What a great statement this is. And, I guess the churches have been kind of bewildered by this statement over the ages, and they think it's some kind of, we got to be like little children to enter the kingdom of heaven in the future. In other words, for them, everything is in the future. We are talking about present tense, right now term. When the Master was saying that you got to be like little children to enter the heaven, what does that mean? So let me give you a little excerpt of what that actually means. The Master, Jesus of Nazareth, here was illustrating a very important point. We all now know that the kingdom of heaven is within us, and we can access the kingdom of heaven through us, because we are created by God. We have a part of God in us. Now, you can give it different terms, and that's okay, but different titles, but we do know that we have a part of God within us, and that part of God is the part that the Master Yehoshua was saying, that the kingdom of God is within you. Remember, he also said the kingdom of God is within you. And he wasn't saying go look for something. He said that don't go to the desert, don't go over here, don't go over there and listen to people who will tell you come over here and come over there, etc. And so we understand that what does this mean? It's not like, the churches will teach you, hey, you come before Jesus, you beg and crawl, and you come on your knees. The Catholics even teach you that, come on your knees, and the people do that, by the way, in the East. They will go on their knees and try to climb hills. And so what happens is that once they do that, they think that they're going to have some kind of brownie points from God. It's not talking about that at all. It's not talking about having brownie points, from doing those kind of things. The thing is very important that here the Master was teaching you, how do we get our desires and how do we get the results? And he said, you will not get the result if the desire is not, if the desire is not done properly. In other words, let me now take you back and read to you, try to read to you word by word what it's actually saying. The disciples came at the same time to Yehoshua, saying, who is the greatest in the kingdom of Shemaim? So what does the Master turn on and say? Who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven? Well, they're talking about they're thinking the future. They're thinking like the Christian church, in the future sometime. But the Master is saying, what future? Right now. You got to be like a little kid, little child. And if you're like a little child, you get all your desires you want. He says, whoever therefore shall humble themselves as the little child, the same is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. In other words, all of you can be great or all of you can be nothing. You can be all great or all nothing. It's up to you. You have to decide that. And you might say, what the heck? How do I decide that? It's very easy. You see, we talk about what is sin. Sin is missing the mark. Torah means missing the mark. When you miss the mark, you are in sin. What is sin? Well, sin could be, hey, I wanted a job and I didn't get it. Well, the Torah calls that sin, missing the mark. You missed the mark. So, you might say, hey, Rabbi or Simon, I have this desire. I want to have a car and I can't get this desire. It's not happening for me. I'm visualizing on it, blah, 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 all the every day, 360 days a year, and it's not happening. So, you might say that why is it not happening for me? What's wrong with me? What am I doing wrong? So, Jesus of Nazareth put it very concisely. They put it very concisely, and they say, and he said, look, when you come as a child, you will get this. But you have to come as a child. Now, what is the qualities of a child? And what is the difference between a child and adult? Adult, you see, as adults, we are very judgmental. We are very, harsh sometimes. And we can be judgmental. And we can be... and so remember I spoke to you earlier, last time and the week before that, and I said that judgment creates resistance. Judgment creates problems. In other words, if you're trying to acquire something in your life and you become judgmental, you're creating resistance. When you create resistance, you create problems of a manifestation. Manifestation doesn't occur because of your judgment. So, children, on the other hand, are non-judgmental. Children are not judgmental, and children have very simple, plain brains. They're not trying to judge everything. They're not trying to say, hey, that person over there is doing this and I'm going to judge him, he's no good. They don't do that. Children are very plain, and so what Jesus is saying, be very plain. Be not judgmental. Be not resistant. Be like a child. Have the faith of a child. What is the faith of a child? Well, you tell a child, I'm going to give you a sweet. You say to your son or daughter, I'm going to give you a sweet, please sit down. And they say, okay, mom or dad, I'll sit down and you're going to give me a sweet. They believe you. They naturally believe you. They don't question it. They don't say, hey, you're lying to me, you're not going to give me a sweet. No, you say to a child, I'm going to give you a sweet. They'll sit down. They'll be quiet down. And they want a sweet. So then, of course, you got to do what you said. So Jesus here is telling you, be like a child. Now, if those of you who are struggling with your manifestations, you got to be like a child. You got to release, let go, detach. So I keep teaching about this detachment. If you don't detach, then the thing will not attach to you. So if you're desiring a house, and you visualize the house, and you do it every day, constantly, you're going to burn yourself out. It's not meant to be done like that. So at some point, let's say that you desired a house. You did it for 2 weeks for argument's sake. You visualize it every day for 2 weeks. Now you need to have the trust and the faith, like a little child, that it's going to happen. God is going to give you a house. Do not worry about it. So what you do at that point, you detach, you drop the whole thing. You say, you know what? I trust God. It's coming to me. Thank you very much, Lord. I'm not going to wait. So what you do, you drop it and you wait. And you don't do the visualization the next day, you just wait. And you might give yourself, possibly, maybe you give yourself a week. Maybe you give yourself 10 days. You see, everybody varies. So, somebody gives themselves a week, somebody gives themselves 10 days, and somebody even gives themselves 14 days. And maybe by that time, it's at the back of your head. You might even have forgotten about that house. But suddenly, boom, house turns up. Suddenly a house comes and you're like, wow, how'd that happen? It's because you dropped it and you detached from it. You're not constantly, worrying about it and, tension on it. Hey, I got to have it. You're not doing that. So what happens is, when your faith is like the faith of a child, when you have a trusting faith, then God will deliver. So the universe can only deliver when you allow the universe to make the necessary entries. So if you don't detach from your desire and you don't give it that time that it needs, you will not get what you're asking for. And then you'll be worrying constantly. I was speaking to somebody and I said, how long have you been visualizing? They're like, every day. I was like, my goodness. I said, you're going to get burnt out if you're just doing it every day. I said, when do you stop? Never. So you need to stop. You need to stop and give yourself some time now, gap. Now this gap is going to be, maybe it's a week's gap, maybe it's a 8-day gap, but you need to give yourself a gap. Allow the universe to put the things into right necessary places, and then that thing will come to you. And I said, if you do that, then you will start seeing your manifestations appearing faster. That is what was meant to be like children. So all of you that are listening to me and that are following my advice and that are doing what you're trying to do to get what you want, desire in your life, is you must do that. But I think that some of you sometimes are perhaps carrying what I can only term a lack, a poverty issue. Oh yeah, I will come back to the script as well, Daniel. Let me just deal with this poverty issue. This poverty issue, I don't know if I spoke about it before, but this must be done. This must be done at least 1 time, or you can run it for 11 times. I recommend at least one or the other. You put a white candle in front of you, a blue candle, sorry. If you can't get a blue candle, then get a white candle. You put a white or a blue candle, ideally a blue candle in front of you. Don't light it yet. Put it in front of you. One morning. Choose a day, Monday or Thursday. So you choose a day, Monday or Thursday, you put a blue or a white candle in front of you. You do not light it. You're now going to remove the curse of poverty from your life. If you've ever been poor, if you ever struggled, if you ever lacked, you're going to sit there and you're going to say that before the God of Israel, you're going to say, I remove the curse of poverty from my life forever. Never to enter my life again. And you then close your eyes, you put your intention into that candle. You put it into there, like you put everything, like all the burden, like we used to do it. Remember, we used to put our hand on our goat, or on our lamb, on our bulls, and put all our sins upon that animal. Same way you put your intention into the candle. Once you put the intention into the candle, you burn it. You burn it and you allow that candle all the way down. If you're only going to do it 1 time, all the way down. It burns all the way down. That's it. Your poverty issue is dealt with once and for all. That is a lack issue that can hold many people back. You do it one-off and you get rid of that poverty issue. Because what I didn't say today was that in part and parcel, when God initiated the priesthood and God told Moses to speak to the children of Israel, He also said something else. He said there's a commanded blessing on the children of Israel. But if you go to New York today, and we're talking about 2019, today's 27th of July, if you go today to New York, you will see some groups of people over there, black Israelites, standing over there in the street corners and shouting down, calling white people all sorts of racist slurs, and then also saying that we are cursed and we are the children of Israel. You see, that's how they're putting curses upon themselves. So what does that curse do? Well, remember we spoke about this, that you can put a curse upon yourself. God has not put a curse upon you, by the way. So those of you who wanted to know, there is no curse upon you, Israel. You are blessed people. We are a blessed people. But we can remove our blessing by speaking evil words from our mouth, bad words that put us in a curse situation. We must never do that. So by doing that candle ritual, you're actually going to remove that poverty, that curse, that whatever belief system that your family came out of. Because I'm pretty sure a lot of your families came out of this belief system that my color is black, I am cursed, I'm not going to get a good job, white man's going to put me down. We all came through this. And so therefore, a lot of you need to go through this process, remove that. And even if you're not black, if you're white, maybe some white families, same thing. Some Indian families, same thing. So it needs to be done. Now the issue of this is that you may say, well, where is the where is the Torah in this? The Torah is in this, is that we did it as a priesthood. We did it as a priesthood for Israel. When we burned that candelabra, that menorah, and we put the olive oil in it, we did it for the whole of Israel. Today, we do not have a standing temple. So you as a priest of your home, or priestess of your home, if you're a woman and you don't have no husband or brother or father, then you have to do it for yourself and for your children. You must do it for yourself. So having said that, it's important that you follow through that routine. It's a very small routine, has very, very powerful effect, and it will help you tremendously. So do that, and then after that, when you're going through your visualization steps, and you must allow yourself a break. Don't burn yourself out. Now, Daniel, you asked a question about the script. You stop writing the script for that many days when you detach, Daniel. So when you detach for a week or 10 days, stop writing your script. Move on to the next part, because maybe if you're working on one item at a time or two items, you stop writing those two items. Then you will have some more items, some more desires you want to fulfill. Then you move on to those desires. That's what you're supposed to do. So it could be, just an idea. Some people could be working on a car. I want a car. So they drop the idea of the car, they detach from it, and they stop writing that I am driving a beautiful car. You stop writing it for 7 to 10 days. And then you go on to the next one. Maybe your next one could be my dream job, or my job that you desire. And if you're doing the job one, then of course you will write the script that day for the job, not for the car. So what I'm saying is split it. Split it two at a time. Because Jesus taught that, by the way. Jesus wasn't teaching go around knocking on people's doors two at a time. The Christian church picked up on. It was teaching switch your desires to two at a time. Two at a time. Do it two at a time, it's more powerful. So if you can do it two at a time, it's more powerful. And then you get two done, then move on to the next two. Two done, then move on to the next two. So you're not going to burn out. You're going to give yourself plenty of room. And with that, I want to give a testimony for Marie, who is in the room. I want to congratulate you, Marie, for your passing of your French test and your beautiful, beautiful job that's coming up with, can I say, is it double the salary or almost double the salary? Baruch Hashem Yahweh for that. What a great testimony. So, yes, so congratulate Marie. She's in the room, that she is going to be soon doing a job with double the salary where she was. I tell you what, tremendous, almost double the salary. Yeah, I'm very, very excited for you. Very happy with that, Rabbi Kefa. Thank you all for listening to me. Your friend and your Kohen in the gate, Rabbi Simon. So over to you, on to you, Rabbi Kefa. Thank you.
Yeah, Chadasha, Kohen, if I can be heard, can I get a 1? Chadasha, for your instruction and your guidance for Israel, and for those that desire and aspire to walk with the God of Israel, not just in word but in deed, and definitely in obedience, which I'm going to talk about today in dealing with the lecture. This parsha is just like Kohen said, it's jam-packed with a lot of great instruction for Israel to use in 2019. Surprise, surprise. It can be used and it can definitely be put into action. But the problem is, and I'm telling you, there's a book that's been marinating for a while that I'm gonna write a book about, the Kohen in the gate, and the Kohen is here. And I think this is where Israel is stumbling and fumbling. But in this parsha, I know the title was in, the honorary title was given to Phinehas. Why? Not because Phinehas had the consensus vote, because I guarantee you, how many of you can agree with me? Phinehas did not have the consensus vote. Like 2019, everybody want to run around with, okay, who has the most numbers on their side? The consensus was, I can guarantee you, Phinehas probably wasn't too popular amongst the tribes as well. How many of you can agree with me on that? When you go back and you do an assessment on our history, I'll tell you this fact. I will tell you this fact. When you're doing what's right, the majority of the people are not going to agree with you. Matter of fact, you'll find that the majority of the people are going to hate you. In 2019, they call it hater. They say quit drinking Haterade. How many of you heard that before? Quit hating on me, or quit drinking the Haterade. Instead of the Gatorade, they're drinking the Haterade. But see, this is what you're going to find today. And as students of humanity, when Nico says sorry, say more than double, plus a lot of benefits. Indeed, Waniku, you know what? You write your script, and you speak it into existence, and it shall be. It will be, and it is. Now, Bukashir. That's how it's done, Waniku. And I celebrate with you, and I'm super excited for you, because as an apprentice of the perfect law, I understand that it does work, and it's working in my life. And it's been working in my life before I even knew what the perfect law was. Because Kohen gave you little insight. You know, I've been knowing the Kohen for a very long time, and I can remember those days. And looking back, I remember those days when I used to go get Kohen. I'd be driving to the airport here and say, Antonio, picking up Kohen. I still remember you, Kohen, coming down the escalator. We used to live in the UK. You come in for a visit, and come in for a little stay, and now you're here permanently. And I tell you, you know, this is the key, Israel, for those of you who listen to via YouTube, and you proclaim to be connected to any kind of way, shape, form, or fashion with the God of Israel. You must come back to the Kohen. And time and time again in our history, as you read our books, if you go through all of our books, and you look at the Bible as a whole, you know, the Kohen is key, even with the Master Yeshua. The Master Yeshua would heal someone, and he'd tell him to do what? Go to the priest. Go to the temple. First, full stop. Not, okay, I'm the all in all. I'm the priest, I'm the king, I'm all that, I'm the Lord, blah, blah, blah. You don't need to do everything else is done away with. Nope, he said, the Master, Yeshua, Jesus of Nazareth, time and time again says, what does the laws of Moses say? Go to the priest. Go to the temple. That means go to the Kohen. And even, because I want to look at today, I want to look at the awesome honor that was given to Yeshua, or Yahushua, however you want to say and pronounce it. Even at that, even at Moses, the GOAT, the greatest of all time, in my opinion, Moses, the mighty Moses, as he delegated, and like the title of this Power Talk Room is, empowered Yeshua, or Yehoshua, however you want to say it, and delegated and gave him the keys to drive that awesome Cadillac Escalade, meaning the families of Israel, the children of Israel, even upon Yeshua or Yahushua being given, you know, that position and delegation of authority over and of leadership, could we say? Because it was definitely leadership role that Yeshua or Yehoshua was put in. Even at that time, if you look at it, we'll read it in a minute, but even with that power that was welded upon him, that authority, that anointing that was given to Yeshua or Yahushua, he still had to report to Eleazar, the priest. He still had to go through the priesthood. I mean, time and time again, you'll see it. We'll read it in a minute, but time and time again, you'll see this. You'll see this time and time again in our history, that Israel has to have a connection. And it has to be a tight-knit connection with the Kohanim if they're going to be successful, if they're going to be a light in the nations. I'm telling you, it has to work this way, because this was established from the very beginnings. And again, just like Hakohi, I haven't received a memo either about any changes that came about, because there is no changes. Everything is still just like it was in the beginnings. We just have to go back to the beginnings, but that's where most folks come kicking and screaming, or they come complaining, or they come, slandering, or they come with all kind of other negative character traits that prevent them from being successful, from being infinitely abundant, from being whole, from being complete, from seeing those riches, from seeing that perfect health, from seeing a great relationship. All of those things that you aspire and desire for yourself. And it reminds me, as I was a child at one time, and soon, Baruch Hashem, thank you, universe, I will be having a son here. It to where I'll be able to mentor and train and be a great guidance to my son, Nakshan. But I remember myself as a child. Sometimes I didn't get everything I wanted when I wanted it. Asked my father for something, it didn't come when I wanted it, so what did I do? I'm going to go over here and throw a temper tantrum, and I'm going to begin to pout. How many of you did that? You're going to get in the corner, you're going to begin to pout, you're going to become angry because you didn't get it when you thought you needed it or when you wanted it. It didn't come the way you expected it to come. And you pout, and you begin to complain, and you begin to cry. And instead of you sticking with, that original thought, that original want that you wanted, before you know it, now you're angry, you're an angry bird, you're mad, you're upset. And then that leads into more trouble because then you become disobedient to your father. And then that just makes it worse for you because you're getting the backside tan then. That's how it operated in the Kefa's house. You put the switch, Grandma, go get the switch and let's take care of business. Because of my disobedience, so then I disconnected from obeying. I said, no, I'm gonna just shut down. I'm not doing nothing my father tell me to do. I asked him to get this for me. He said he would, but just because I didn't get it under my time frame, my goodness, then I'm throwing a temper tantrum, and then I become disobedient. He tell me to do this, I don't do it. I just make things worse for me. And then I go down that rabbit hole of disobedience, which is not a great place to be. So sometimes we run into that same situation. It's where things don't happen the way we project them to happen, the way we want them to happen, the way we need them to happen, on a particular time frame that we put it on. I'm going to give you a big word of advice here. Don't put a timetable on the universes. Because everything, if you go in skewed, if you think with the perfect law that you can put a time frame on it. That's the worst thing you can do for yourself. You see, because the universe is now. So why are you putting a time frame on the universe when the universe is now? You understand what I'm saying? So for some of you, you're putting a time frame on things when just the universe is now. So everything for you, your wants are now. And even though now may be in 1 year, 2 years, because I tell you what, my colleague told me that, it was approximately about 7 years ago, 8 years ago, when I was married to a Hispanic woman here in San Antonio with 2 children that weren't mine. And she had her tube tied to where she couldn't have any more. Tied, burned, and frayed, and all that. It would have taken a miracle from the heavens for a baby to come out of that. But that was not to happen that way. So you must understand is that just because, according to me, hey, you need to have sons, Kefa. I remember him. We were in the living room downstairs. I remember telling him, he said, Kefa, you need to have sons. And here I am trying to process this in my mind. Because at that time, I was still unconscious. Ignorantly, because I didn't even know what consciousness was at that time. How many of you been there? You're just unconscious ignorantly. And speaking of judgment for a minute, because this came to me this morning from the invoked Mother Wisdom, the RSAHK, is that a lot of times we have to excuse ourselves because we put ourselves in the judgment seat because we're judging people when they're unconscious, and that's just not fair. How are you going to judge someone when they're unconscious? You see, and we're going to talk about that in a minute too, pertaining dealing with the lecture as well. How many of you in this room right now want to be empowered? The title of this Power Talk room is Empower Yourself with the Words of Jesus/Yeshua. How many of you in this room want to be empowered? Come on, let's not shuck and jive here. If empowerment is not for you, then it's just not for you, and I respect that. But how many of you in this room want to be empowered? You say, Rabbi Kefa, yes, I want to be empowered. Empowered to do whatever you want to do. Your wants may not be my wants, but you all want to be empowered, right? Empowerment, to me, is our mainstay. It's our default setting. Because what? The blessings are already, they're already mandated to Israel. It's already built in. Empowerment. At one time in my life, I wasn't empowered because I was ignorant to empowerment. Because I was always told, just like Uncle talked about, I was always told that no, the white man is keeping me down. I can't make $1 out of 15 cents. I'm trying, but I'll never be able to make $1 out of 15 cents. I'm just going to have to settle with what this life, this world has given me with the family that I was born into. That's what I was conditioned to think. And that, yeah, because I'm black, I'm cursed. Because some Jewish friends back in the day told me this. Oh, you're black because you're cursed. I was like, wait a minute. And people are white because they're pure. How many of you heard that before? This is why you have this pigmentation of being black, because God has cursed you. I was like, what? What the hell? Well, and I kept asking myself, well, how the heck can I get out of this curse? How can and then I said, well, do I have to make myself white so that I can come out of this and reverse this curse? And so it's almost like, if you think about it, is that you've been conditioned from a very young age that you're cursed and you're going to die cursed because you can't change your color. You understand what I'm saying? So that mentality. Now, I don't know if it's like this over there in Europe. Can anybody from the European side vouch for what I'm talking about, or you weren't brought up that kind of way with that kind of conditioning? But I'll tell you, here in North America, that's a prevalent way conditioning. Oliver, vive la France. Oliver is saying same thing here. Oh, to die for that, Oliver. To die for that, Oliver. And I'm pretty sure we have some of the same blood within us as well, Oliver, because guess what? My family, my father's family, they landed on the shores of Louisiana. And guess who came to conquer Louisiana, called the Louisiana Purchase? I know you know your history, sir. So within my family, my goodness, my grandmother only spoke French, Oliver. It was that Creole Cajun French, but that's all she spoke. So the influence of the French is big on my family. Very, very heavy on my immediate family that I was born into. Now Louisiana is just but a shell of itself, but how many of you know, you history buffs, Louisiana went all the way up to Canada? How many of you know that? Any of you? It went all the way up to Canada for you history buffs at one time. Louisiana was the purchase. It was a big purchase. Now, Louisiana is just this little piece. I go in and driven through Louisiana many times. It's just a little bit of piece. I can, a few hours you're through Louisiana. No problem. Going east and west. So, yeah, so we have these things, and we have to tell ourselves, we have to say, well, my goodness, we have to come out of this conditioning that we've been taught, that we just, these black people with no kind of history behind it. And we're cursed, and we've been told all of these negative factors that will linger on unless you just totally get rid of the baggage and don't take it on your voyage. You just have to leave that baggage at the train station. But for many folks, it's quite difficult, and they're having a problem dealing with. This is where the Kohen comes in. He's here to tell us who we really are. He's letting us know. He's been for many years letting us know who we really are. You see? Luxury class said, I've had to reshape my views. Oh, indeed. It's a total paradigm shift when you listen via YouTube. You have to come out of all of this hatred and blaming this person and that person. And just like Hakohi said, you have to go back to that mentality of being a child. Just like the Master Yeshua said. How many of you are having fun right now? How many of you can say, Rabbi, put up a capital F for them. You say, I'm having fun. I'm having fun with life. I'm having fun with my relations. I'm having fun with my job. How many of you can say that? I'm having fun, Rabbi. Life is it's fun. And I'm enjoying life. Shane, y'all say fun and free. I like that, Shane, y'all. Luxury class says life is good. I'm having fun. Hookah shit. And that's what life should be about. Because guess what? Children love to have fun. Children love to play, right? These are the kind of characteristics and character traits that you need to establish for yourself. In Luxury class, I appreciate your testimony. Luxury class says, look, I've been dealing with it, and I'm paraphrasing, but now I think I've dealt with these the reshaping. Because it does take time. It doesn't happen overnight, Mishpah. The conditioning that you've been having, unless you relinquish the mind control and go back into your subconscious and become conscious, that's when the whole new world opens up. That's when you realize that God is within you. That God is within you and He never left you. You haven't been abandoned and you're not alone. All that mumbo jumbo they want to feed you. So you have to wait in anticipation for something, because anticipation is now. Future is now. Past is now. But many times we want to live on the other sides of the stick. We don't want to stay in the middle, present. We want to be what? In the future, or we want to be in the past? Why do you think we call President Trump president? Isn't that beautiful? President. Because he's present now. What? America now. Rukashim. We want to be present. I know all of you want to be empowered. I know you do. It's within you. It's within the human nature, the being side of your human being, to be empowered. To be that superhero. To be that Avenger. To be Captain America. Or Captain France. Or Captain UK. It's within you to do that. You can be empowered. But there's a process and a procedure to it. There's a process and a procedure to it. So where do you go to get that information? And for you listening via YouTube, please, in all happiness and humbleness, you must go to the Kohen. It's very, very important. Is that you must come back and connect yourself and enjoy yourself to the family of Israel. The family and the fundamentals of Israel that haven't changed. Go through the generations. They've tried to change it, and they have changed it. And this is why the Kohen is so very important, to bring you back to those very fundamentals that are sound, tested, proven, and cannot be changed. Universal. The universe, the law of the universe, the perfect law is just that. It's perfect. You don't need to go tampering with it. Now what you'll find, just like you find within the confines of the Torah, that there's so much freedoms in there. And there's so much flexibility within the perfect law. Anybody noticing that? Is that, a method or a way for someone, you can tweak it a little bit and it'll work for you a little bit better this way. You know what I mean? Because we're all unique within the family. We're all unique. We're all unique. We all have our roles. We all have our places in this great kingdom of Jacob, the family of Jacob. It's a beautiful family. It's a beautiful family. And we're all beautiful. You see, but what happens to us is this. Instead of being childlike, is that we run away from the childhood life, because let me tell you how you do today. You may just be doing this ignorantly. You'll say, oh, I'm too old. I mean, you get that. Oh, I'm too old. But no, you're a child. But what are you saying? Oh, I'm too old for that. Oh, I'm too old. Why did the master have to bring me into, consciousness at this age? You're forfeiting your childhood because you're saying too old. That's just one example of how you could do that. Oh, I'm too old. No, you're not. That's what you've been spoon-fed. Oh, the doctor said, that's what the doctor said you old. That doesn't make you old. But if you take those words and you receive them, remember, you're a transmitter and you're a receiver. So you have to watch what you're receiving, Mishpah. You have to reject a lot of these things and overpower those thoughts with your force field that you put around you. Happiness and joy and peace and love. You're a spring chicken. You're a summer bunny. I used to listen to the song. The summer bunnies drive me crazy. You're a summer bunny. Lucas, yeah. You're just a summer bunny. Spring chicken. Young whippersnapper. Not, oh, I'm too old, Rabbi. I'm too old for all that. The master can't use me because I'm old. Well, guess what? The master's not going to use you because you're old. The master within you will never wake up. Because you look at what you're doing. You're shouting yourself down. You're speaking yourself right out of blessing. Who can curse you but yourself? Thank you very much. And that's where it starts. Don't believe me? Look on YouTube. You'll see it done all the time. The people just cursing themselves down. And guess what? They proudly curse themselves down. So what needs to happen is we need to come out of the ignorance of not knowing. That's a big, big, big thing. Oh, I love water. And I'm like, I only drink water when I'm thirsty. And that's going to vary for a lot of folks, because some folks work out in the heat. These guys out in San Antonio, I'm telling you, these construction guys and these guys working on the roads and stuff, it's hot as hell down here in San Antonio. So their water intake is totally different than mine. As I sit up in these air-conditioned hospitals and air-conditioned homes, and my goodness, I got to layer up. It's so cold in here. Fukushima, that's a good thing. I'm not complaining, by the way. I'm giving thanks to the universe. But I also give thanks and gratitude for those men that work these kind of construction jobs out there in the heat. Anybody in this room, you have that kind of job where you work out in the heat? You're working out in the elements where it's the heat or the cold or the rain? Anybody? Because I want to honor you. I want to lift you up today. And I want to give thanks and gratitude for you. Wow, you guys are wise people. My goodness. For those of you who listen to me on YouTube, we had crickets in the room on that question. So all of you need to be giving thanks and gratitude. You have these types of jobs that are indoors, you're in the confines of some heat, or you're in the confines of some air conditioning shifts. But there are jobs out there where people have to do those kind of things, where they have to go out and work these kind of jobs. You give thanks, and you lift up these people that do these jobs. And guess what? They like to do them. They like to be out in the elements. They like that sun. And they don't see sun as a curse. Them getting darker as a curse, Fukushima. You see? Rabbi Zakari, he says, I got out of the shop into the office. Fukushima, thank you, universe. What a great testimony, right? Fukushima. But I bet you have a high appreciation for those that are still in the shop. You give gratitude and thanks for them. Because why? You've been there and you know how it is to work. This is why, for some of you will complain about, oh, I'm too old. That's actually a great asset. Because you can go back and say, oh, I've been there. Not only do I sympathize with you, but I empathize with you because I was there. I've been through this situation. You use age. You should use age as experience. You're well learned. You're wise. With age comes wisdom. When you, oh, I'm too old, I can't do this, that. Well, guess what? What happened to that child of Israel? That child of Israel became a geriatric of Israel. That's not what they call us in our book. Oh, and the geriatrics of Israel conquered the land. No, it says no. Oh, and the children of Israel conquered the land. Change the way you think of yourself. It's not nobody else doing it to you, you're doing it to yourself. Even though they may come and hurl in all kind of, you remember you're a transmitter receiver. They're hurling all these things out at you. You don't have to believe them. You don't have to receive what they're saying. And they can come in many forms. Your loved one, your family member, your friend, your doctor, your employer. You don't have to take all that in. Reject it. Counter it. Do you know why Floyd Mayweather is still undefeated, the boxer? How many of you follow boxing? Floyd Mayweather has got to be one of the, they call him Pretty Boy Floyd. Now, how could you call somebody that's in boxing Pretty Boy Floyd when in boxing you get hit upside the head, you get bruised, you get your nose broken and jaw broken and all this other stuff? Why do they call this man who is undefeated and never lost a match Pretty Boy Floyd? Why do they call him that? It's because they consider him one of the greatest counter punchers in the world. That's why he's undefeated. He said, okay, you're going to hit me, I'm going to make you miss, and then I'm going to hit you back and knock your butt out. Period. Full stop. That's just what it is. I love watching him fight whenever he does come out of retirement. I mean, this man has so much money. about to Google how much money he's making now, but I tell you, they call him Money Man. Pretty Boy Floyd. He's all about money. And I can't hate on him for that. He's mastered his craft. Never lost a match. Why? Why do they call him Pretty Boy? Because he don't get hit. He make you miss. And then he's an awesome counterpuncher. Who's another boxer that was like that? Kind of reminds me of Muhammad Ali. Fly like a butterfly, sting like a bee. He'll sit there and put up his hand and let you just beat on him like a punching bag. Boom, boom. He's got his hands up. He's got his defenses up. And you just wearing yourself out. And then he makes you think that he's so tired because of all of the barrage of punches he's throwing at you. And then all of a sudden, he unleashes the beast on you. My goodness. Fly like a butterfly, sting like a bee. How many of you have tried to catch a butterfly before? Anybody try to catch a butterfly? It's very difficult, right? Because they're real agile. Man, they go here, there, oh, everywhere. Oh, you're trying to catch a butterfly, my goodness. Unless you got a net will help you somewhat. Will improve your chances of catching a butterfly. Daniel said still not successful at that yet. Very agile. You see it moving around. Why do you think Muhammad Ali said that? Fly like a butterfly, sting like a bee. How many of you have been stung by a bee before? Let me put up a one on that one. My goodness. And an explanation one. Sting like a bee. You get stung by a bee, you feel it, don't you? Oh, you feel it. You feel it. You do feel it. Oh, by the way, this is on the by and by. If you ever stung by a bee in the future, I tell you, I give you one of my old grandma's remedies. You know what she used to do? My grandma used to dip that bugler tobacco. She would grow tobacco in her backyard, Louisiana, and she would chew it. You know how you put it on the side of your cheek? I don't know if they do that in the UK, but I tell you, I think they do it in India, Pakistan. They'll take that stuff, that tobacco, they'll dip it, they'll chew it, put it on one side of the cheek, then they chew on to spit it out, chew on to spit it out. Well, she took some of that stuff out of her mouth and she put it where I got the bee sting. Instant pain relief, just like that. Oh, I was like, wow, what is this stuff? I remember as a child, she used to do that for me. She'd take the tobacco and put it right on that site. I tell you, stop the swelling, stop the pain, and all that. Rabbi Zachariah vouches for the tobacco. It does work. I've seen it. It worked for me, so I know I'm a human being just like the rest of you guys. It worked for you as well. Just to buy it. So, it's going back to the point of when you remember you're a receiver. You have to understand that you're a receiver every day of your waking life. You're a receiver. But you have to be selective on what you're receiving into you. You understand what I'm saying? Because a lot of those influences are those things that are being hurled at you are not positive. It is not helping you. So you have to be conscious of that. Many times, doctors would tell family members, oh, your father only got about a week to live. Oh, your baby, you can take him home. He has about 2 months to live. Make the arrangements. Well, if you receive that stuff, guess what? Your baby gonna die in about 2 months. You understand what I'm saying? So this is what I like to do, and I'm so happy and humbled that I'm able to go into these homes and reverse the curse. These curses that are they're receiving these curses. No. Let's infuse and empower you with some life. Oh, your baby not going to die in no 2 months. Every day is a blessing. Your baby's going to outlive you. Oh, Hashem. You start going in and talking that way, and before you know it, the doctors are coming. You're going to a doctor's appointment 5 years later, and it's like, this baby's a miracle. He's still alive. Why? It's because you infused power and life into the situation. You have empowered the situation with life, with love, with joy. Not none of that hope mumbo jumbo. Oh, I hope he makes it. No, he's gonna make it now. He's living now. He's healthy now. Baruch Hashem. You are all placed where you're strategically. You're placed right now where you're at now to empower the place where you are. Empowerment starts where? With you, and it starts in your home. This is how you empower the situations. I had to do it in my home as well with my wife. Because you got to understand, women are the weaker vessels. And no disrespect to the woman. But sometimes a woman, how many women can vouch for me and say, yeah, Rabbi, sometimes I need to be empowered? Any women in the room, put up an E if that's you, a capital E. You say, Rabbi, sometimes I do need to be empowered because I find myself, I stray a little bit. And, you know, this is to offer your responses for you women in the room. Because sometimes you're the weaker vessel. So let's just say, you know, the strength for you to be able to receive and transmit is not as powerful as that of a man. Now, let's go back to Genesis. We see the same thing happen in the garden. Before the garden, before the fall. Let's just put it before the fall. Pre-fall. What was attacked? The attack went in through the woman. So this is why it's so very important that we empower our wives, anybody in a relationship, women in general. You just want to empower them as men. Because sometimes you just need to put them back into focus and bring them back to what's important. And empower them and embolden them and strengthen them. How do you do that? By encouraging them. Hakoin talked about this earlier. You encourage women. You don't tear them down. You show them respect and love, and my goodness, that woman is going to turn into a Shira on you. She's going to be like them Amazonian women, very strong. Because why? Behind that woman is a powerful man that's empowering her and giving her strength. I do that with my wife. She's like, well, my first pregnancy turned out like this, and I couldn't do anything. I was so weak. I said, no, that's not happening now. Now you're going to be... My wife, my goodness, my wife is at 34 weeks. She's still cooking. She's still cleaning. Still working in the garden. My neighbors are like, she should be out there working in the yard. I said, yeah, she should. If that makes her happy, she should. She's working in the yard, growing her tomatoes and her cucumbers. And my goodness, I believe we have the most beautiful eggplants that we're growing now. My goodness. Beautiful egg. We're growing our own bitter gourd back there. I just go pick it and cook it right from the... Well, I tell you, thank you, universe. Thank you, Mother Earth. Shane, y'all said same with my wife. Isn't that beautiful, Shane, y'all? Is that you just got to empower them. Not to tell them to look back at the past. Oh, what's going to happen? Don't worry about the future. Now, everything is great now. You're going to be strong now. You're going to go through with an uneventful pregnancy. And that's just what happened. Why? Because I empowered my wife to think that way. She started getting a little weak on me. I got to empower her. But what if both of you are weak? Then you got to go to the court and you get empowerment. But we all need to be empowered. You see? And you'll see the change in your wife. Because then they'll start to believe you and they'll start to trust you. And then they start to believe. They literally believe. They have that faith that the Master Yeshua talked about. They begin to believe. Yeah, you're right. That was then. This is now. This can be different now. Now my wife just cooking. Oh, before the first pregnancy, she couldn't do nothing. She only could lay in the bed. She was so weak. Blah, 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 blah. Well, that was then. This is now. You carry the little lion, the heart of a lion in there. And boy, he is super strong. Boy, he's kicking now. I tell you, he's kicking through her stomach now. He's kicking through the vein. I'm like, my goodness, my son's going to be super strong, super wise, super smart, super intelligent. Over Hashem, I say it to him every day. Sean, you are super. You are great. I'm empowering my son in the womb. Now, how many of you can say that was done to you while you were in the womb? You see, we're in a new generation now. We have so much great opportunity to do marvelous and great things, and you will do magnificent things. You're magnificent, family. You're super. You're, like Hakoin says, you're the awesome tribe. We are the awesome tribe. No matter, I don't care what people say. I think someone was in the room earlier before the room was open. What did they say? Hakoin, oh, yeah, what do you think? Kefa, you're Jesus now? Yes, I am Jesus. Jesus is in me. Thank you for that comment, by the way, in your ignorance. You got to laugh these people off, man, and keep it moving. And keep it moving because they're just ignorant and they're unconscious. So don't be judgmental on these people. They're unconscious, man. You gotta leave them to it. You just gotta leave them to it. and love them through the process, because I tell you, they just unconscious. They're not even conscious. Why are you going to waste oxygen? You don't have to be judgmental of these people. They just don't know any better. Empowerment is so very important. That's the word the Mother Wisdom gave to me this morning. Empower yourself. Don't run around and saying that you're done or what you're done. Your life is... No, your life is just beginning. You live forever. Now. My goodness. You live forever now. You should be happy now. Full of joy right now. That's what's up. What's up is now. Thank you, thank you, thank you, universe. Thank you, Mother Earth. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. It's the power that we have within us. It's within you, children of Israel, to be that child. Goodness, empower yourself. Empower yourself. I know I asked the question earlier, how many of you want to be empowered? Drop me your responses, by the way. But here's what I want to add to that. Empower yourself with a purpose. Wow. Empower yourself now with a purpose. Now, for all of you that said, I want to be empowered, I want to ask you now, empowerment for what purpose? Anybody tell me? Just let me know, what is your purpose for your empowerment? Think about that for a minute. What is your purpose for your empowerment? Yeah, you want to be empowered. Everybody likes, oh, that's a good word. That's a positive word, empowerment. But empower yourself for what purpose? For what ends? And you can reply if you want. And if you don't know, then that's fine as well. Because that's something for you to meditate on in your meditations. Why do I want to empower myself? For what purpose? Rabbi Sakari says to be a blessing to others. For what purpose? Enhancing the industrial industry. There you go, saying you have to top of that. For what purpose do you want to be empowered? You see, you got all this power, but what you going to do with it? Put it under the bed? Like the master says. Are you going to put it in your closet? If you're supposed to be this light to the world, is it supposed to go in your closet? What is the purpose for your empowerment? You have to decide that. What do you want? What do you want to do with all this superhuman strength? What good is it for you to be a superhero, but you just stay a zero? You don't do anything. You just, okay, yeah, I'm a superhero. I have all of these tools at my disposal to do great things, but what are you doing with them? The Torah says to be helpful. Daniel, a.k.a. Torah Walker, says to fulfill my desires and dreams, to be helping a life so that others can see and learn. Yael 1:10 says to achieve all my desires and empower my family and those around me. Stop your responses, by the way, because there's no wrong answer here, family. It's what you want to do. Lion Princess says to make wise decisions. Stop for that. You want to be empowered with a purpose. And you can have more than one purpose, by the way. And it's good to have more than one purpose. Just like an investment. Do you just want to invest in just one thing? You just take one stock and you would just invest in one stock? Or do you want to be, as they say, you want to be diversified? And your wants, you can be diversified as well. Have different sections in your portfolio. That's my word of the week, by the way. Portfolio. Shit. We all need to have them. In business, in investing. The Master Yeshua talked about this parable. I tell you, I didn't want to go there, but I think that's where they both want us to go. About when the Master left some of his servants with talents and what they did with them. You got the talents. What are you doing with them? I'm going to ask you the same thing. You can go back and read this parable in the New Covenant Renewed Contract. Go and read it. Then you have to ask yourself, with what the Master has given me, what have I done with it? Have I put it under the bud? Have I went buried it in the backyard? Have I multiplied it? What have I done? You see, you all have the capability and capacity. You have the capability within you to empower not only yourselves, but those that are around you. Empower them to do what? To be successful. Empower them to do what? To be wealthy. Empower them to do what? To have health. Empower them to do what? To have great relations. Empower them to do what? To be happy. Empower them to do what? To have peace. Empower them to do what? To have love and to be able to demonstrate love and to actually see love. Then be love. Baruch Hashem. Most folks today need to see so that they can be. You understand what I'm saying? So you're that seeing. They're looking at you. You're that light up on the mountaintop. They see it. Now they want to be it. There's nothing wrong with that. Some of you, how many of you have been approached these past 6 days of labor, and somebody has come seeking advice from you? It could be anybody, doesn't matter. But somebody has come to you and asking you for advice. Anybody? There's somebody come to you and says, can you? What do you think? Can you give me your opinion? What are your thoughts on this? That's an awesome responsibility. Humbling, happy. Because you have the tools. You can empower individuals around you. That'll be your response, by the way. You have the ability to empower family. You have the ability. And if you don't know how to use your ability, I encourage you to, you can phone into us. I'll answer your phone call. I'll get back to you. You leave a message. Or you talk to the Kohen. Direct line. Direct line. Israel, you must get back to that connection with your Kohen. He's my Kohen. He's your Kohen as well. Very, very important. We want to be empowering, but before we can empower, we have to empower ourselves. Empowerment comes from within, not without. Children of Israel, look at you. What a great lecture. Great lecture brought forth. Empower with a purpose. Empower with a purpose. Now, I want to look at the Parsha for a minute because I think this is important as we begin to dissect the Parsha and peel away the layers of this sweet onion. I'm in favor of the red onions now. Cody's got me hooked on the red onions. Really like those onions. Numbers chapter 26, verses 52, where it says, Yahweh spoke to Moshe, to Moses. Again, I'm reading from the Abrahamic Faith Bible. If you don't have this Bible, I would encourage you to get it. By the way, I told you in my meditations the other day, I was just downstairs, sitting down in the living room, and I just so happened to look at my certificate that you gave me. Well, Hakoy came to my house and said, Kefa, you're going to be a rabbi. I was like, okay, yeah, sure. Whatever you say, Hakoy. I tell you, I'm going to write a book one day. But I said, whatever you say. So, and I just so happened, in our evolution and as we, in our journey as Israel with the Kohen, Baruch Hashem. Because, you see, there's two types of Israels out there today. And you can either put them in one or two classes, and this is it. Either you're Israel without a Kohen, or you're Israel with the Kohen in the gate. These are the world over. When we look at this wonderful world that we've been given dominion of, these are the two classes that you can put people in as students of nature. How many of you in this room are students of nature? Because you need to be. Just like you're students of the Torah, you need to be students of nature. And in your study of the human nature, you'll find that there is Israel without the Kohen. How many of you see that Israel? If you don't, go to YouTube. You'll find them. And it's Israel with the Kohen in the gate. With the Kohen, man, I'm telling you, those two classes of Israel are night and day. Night and day. So in the journey with the Kohen, I noticed, I was looking at he came in and said, he said, Kefa, you're going to be a rabbi. I was like, okay, yeah. You see, because for me, I'm like Yeshua. Whatever Moses say, I'm rolling with it, period. I'm down. Whatever needs to be done, I'll get it done. Whatever Moses says. And see, this is what's key. We're going to get that in a minute with this Parsha. Because in this Parsha, Pinhas is a great lesson on leadership. How many of you want to be leaders? How many of you truly want to be leaders? You see that as part of your makeup. Maybe that's part of your DNA is to lead. And there's different styles of leadership. There's different styles. Not that you have to be in a form. How many of you know sometimes that leader is in the back of the kitchen cleaning dishes? That's a leader. You see, sometimes our understanding of a leader is skewed. And I want you to see this today. Akohi hinted to this as well. When you look at the life of Yeshua, or Yehoshua, however you want to say it, how many of you right now can say that Yehoshua or Yeshua was a leader? Anybody? Well, how would you characterize Yehoshua or Joshua, however you want to say his name? Would you consider him a leader? And if you do consider him a leader, then you must look at the qualities of what made him a leader. You see? You see, because like I had stated, I made this statement during our Queen's lecture. I was like, my goodness. Answer this question for me, family. Did our descendant Moses, did he have sons? Did Moses have sons? It's not a trick question. But did Moses have sons? Like all of us want sons, right? Or have sons. Moses had sons, correct? So my thing is, I'm like, look, we're talking about inheritance, and this portion talks a lot about it. You know, Israel, we have major inheritance, Book of Shem. We're talking about inheritance, and we're talking about legacy, and we're talking about next man up type situations here. Now, when you look at Moses, Moses had sons. So, in mind's eye, one would think, okay, now the delegation of authority is going to be passed on from father to son, to father to son, to father to son. Correct? So why all of a sudden in the left field comes Yehoshua? Delegation is not given to Moses' sons. It's given to Yehoshua, Joshua, Yahushua. Wow. Why is that? Pray tell. Anybody want to take a gander? What is your opinion on that? You see? Daniel, a.k.a. Torah Walker, said Yehoshua was around Moshe more than his sons, it seemed like. Oh, indeed. But, how come he hinted on this in his lecture? Why was, you see, because we're talking about leadership here. We're talking about leadership. Why was Yehoshua, you see, selected? Yehoshua, and he said that Yehoshua was Moshe's spiritual son and accepted the mantle. Moshe's sons maybe did not want the mantle. Okay, good point. Point taken and noted. Because he was willing to serve the people, Yahel 1:10 said. You see, leadership traits and skills has to be something that's seen. Yehoshua was seen, but what was he seen doing? He talked about this during his lecture. Oh, he made sure everything was prepared. He made sure everything was right and in place so that Moshe can do what he needs to do. All the tribes were comfortable as they were having these discussions with Moshe, getting their questions answered. Yehoshua was behind the scenes. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Because some of you maybe shun leadership because you think leadership has to be on the forefront, on the camera, in the media, blah, 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 blah. But that's not true leadership, Miss Baha. The Master Yeshua hinted to this as well. He says, when you become low, I will raise you up and make you high. Think about this for a minute. The least in the kingdom will be first. I was paraphrasing, but he says it sort of like this. The least in the kingdom will be first. Do you not see that? The model hasn't changed, by the way, for those of you who want to be leaders. Now, what Yehoshua was doing would be considered the least. Oh, man, he's over here cleaning tables. He's over here picking up trash after meetings and making sure everything is clean and in order. And the Mexicans down there would call that like a cazuela. You go get your little house girl. Cazuela comes in, cleans your house, and does all those things that nobody else wants to do, Miss Baha. The last shall be first, and the first shall be last. Mentality. So what does a leader do at the end of the day? Everybody says it, but not too many people do it. A leader is to serve. But who you serve? Serve itself? Most leaders today are not liked by the people is because you find that they want to serve themselves and not serve the people. To be servant to all will be great in the kingdom. You have to have the mentality to be able to serve. So before you can serve others, you see, this is what many people miss it. I see it in Christianity all the time. people in Christianity, and I see it also in Catholicism as well, is that people serve, they have a heart to serve other people, but in the process, they're remiss in serving themselves. You understand what I'm saying? First, you must serve yourself before you can serve others. Same way I say with love. Everybody talk about love, love, love all over chocolate block. But before you can love others, you must love yourself. How many of you know little children love themselves? They love themselves. I see little girls, they look at themselves in the mirror, oh, they love themselves. They put their little makeup on, little play makeup, and they love themselves. You don't see little children running around and saying, oh, I hate myself. I'm too old. Or they say, no, little, oh, I'm too young. I can't do it. You know, young children, I mean, the world is their oyster, literally. It's because they believe that they can do anything. They sit here and watch these cartoons. Oh, I can do that. I'm a superhero. How many times have you seen it? Maybe your children did it as well. Hey, Dad, can you go buy me a Superman cape? I'm Superman. They want to run playing Superman. Batman, I'm Avenger, I'm Captain America. They have that imagination. They dream. Rukashim. Atar says she was Wonder Woman. Rukashim. And Atar, you are Wonder Woman. Don't let nobody tell you you're not. You are Wonder Woman now. Thank you, thank you, thank you to the universe. Thank you, thank you, thank you to the creator of heavens and earths. And this earth and the heavens and the universe. Rukashim. That's what's important. So you get to this point in your life, right, where you understand, I'm here on this earth for a purpose. Maybe it takes you a while to get to that point. So what? You have reached the point. Give thanks. Give gratitude. That, oh, now I'm really beginning to understand truly what life is all about. At the end of the day, life is not about all these religions running after a religion. These things is what shackle you, and they enslave you. Many people say, oh, but slavery's done away with. But a lot of people are still enslaved. You may not be shackled and chained up, but you're enslaved because you've been locked. The prison jail cells have been locked and the key's been thrown away when it comes to you connecting to your consciousness and connecting to that subconscious within you. To realize that you have the DNA of El Shaddai. God is in you. You don't have to go searching for God in some building. Why do you think Israel today doesn't have a standing temple? Lesson learned. Temple's in ruins. Last time we checked, right, Akohi? The temple is in ruins. Last time we checked. Is there any reason why? You don't have to go run to a building. God is within each and every one of the human beings on the face of this earth. Now, the connectivity you have with God, it all depends on you. Most folks will stay under mind control, and so be it. If they're happy being under mind control, running with their emotions, mind playing tricks on them, and all that other mumbo jumbo, you have to leave them to it. As a student of nature, I realize that a lot of folks here in my circle of influence, they like drama. They actually thrive off drama. How many of you know people like that? They actually, life can't go on unless there's some drama going on, and then, oh, they're so happy then. They become very talkative then because they like drama. I steer clear of these kind of people. They like gossip. I steer clear of these kind of people. You have to recognize them. You must be able to reject what they're saying, so you have to be, remember, you're a transmitter, you're a receiver of energies, of vibration, of frequency. So when somebody coming to you with all this negativity, you have to be able to counter it. You can't just sit here and just, oh, no. Nope, you have to be able to counter it. And sometimes to counter it, you just totally have to get away from it. Totally have to excuse yourself because maybe you're not strong enough to counter it with positivity. You must be able to do that. Infuse and empower positivity to everybody's situation. Very, very important. Because even these people, in their ignorance, they need to see that there is positivity in this world. So I wouldn't just walk away from them, per se, maybe I would try to infuse a little positivity in them to at least jar their mind a little bit. Boom, like, oh, wait a minute. It doesn't have to be so negative. Wait a minute. Maybe there is some good in that person that I'm talking about. I'm only looking at the bad. You see? And then some folks, you just, no matter what you say, you talk till you blue in the face, and they still going to be that way because that's their makeup, and they love being that way, and you have to love them like that. You love them through that, and you love them from a distance. you have that distance love. You love them from a distance. Nothing wrong with that. You must understand, your mandate is not here to save the world. That's a falsehood that's been spewed upon Christianity. Is that they have to go around here being judgmental and save the whole world. That's not, no. The only thing you have to do is save yourself. And in the process, other people going to come around you that you will affect because of what you're transmitting. And they like what you're transmitting because they want to receive the same thing you got. So before you know it, that's when you begin to what? Manifest and attract certain people in your life. And they'll just come up to you. Like some of you explained to me these past 6 days of labor. They come up to you seeking advice, seeking your opinion, seeking some counsel, however they say it. But they'll come to you, Mishpahah. They'll come to you. And then that's when you can give them those golden nuggets of life. And that life more abundantly. And that life that's infinite. Is infinite abundance, infinite life. And the world over wants it, but they just don't know how to go to it and get it. And the method, the process that they're using is totally flawed. And it keeps returning to them void. But yet, they keep staying in it, and everything keeps coming back to them void. You see what I mean? This is why it's important that if you know of these kind of people, don't just totally run away from it. Because then you're taking your light and you're putting it in the closet. But just go and infuse something in there, positive, and then be on your merry way. What they do with it is on them after that. You see? Because at least try to give them some seed of light. Whatever they do with it is on them. You see? But the negativity must be combated by something. A positive word. Graciousness. Love. So that way they can jar their mind. How many of you, I know all of you have somebody within your circle of influence needs their mind just jarred a little bit. Like, okay, you've been thinking this way for so long, but that's all you've been receiving. That's all you've been transmitting. Let me turn your knob to a new station. Let's see if we can turn up that frequency and the vibration and bring some positive energy your way. You are positive energy. I am positive energy. Everybody's energy, whether you want to be or not. I don't care what your religious affiliation is. At the end of the day, you energy. You're made up of atoms. Come on, let's just be real. You're human beings, man. So put all that, all that man-made stuff to the side for a minute. And realize what effect that you can have on your world, your nation, your universe, by what you come across and how you come across it as a leader. How many of you know the children of Jacob are leaders? We're leaders. That's just within us. We lead. What does a light do? A light don't run, it leads. You're a leader, Shbaha. You are a leader. I asked the question earlier, not many people wanted to put up a leader, but I'm letting you know right now that you're a leader. And you're going to always be a leader. You're going to always lead. Now, there's different styles of leadership. You may not come in this form, and I'm so happy and humble that so many years ago he told me, he came to my house, Kefa, you're going to be a rabbi. I'm like, I didn't even know what rabbi was. I was like, what is that? What do you do? But I understood. All I have to do is follow the Kohen, the son of Aaron. I won't go wrong. I'm going back to our history, to the fundamentals, to the basics of the history of my family, the children of Israel, of the Hebrews. I'm going back to that. And I may not understand it all, which I did. But I knew if I stick with this son of Moses here, with this man, with this descendant of Moses, with this son of Aaron, I cannot go wrong. This is Israel's mandate. Now I want you to listen to something which is very important. Numbers chapter 26, starting at verse 52. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, to these lands I shall divide for an inheritance according to the number of names. There was a census done, if all of you remember from our parsha reading. Look at verse 54. Listen to this. I think this is really crucial on many different levels. To many you shall give the more inheritance. Listen to this now. It's very important that you hear this. The wise will understand. Meditate on this verse. It'll really help you in your life. Numbers chapter 26, verse 54. To many you shall give the more inheritance. To the few you shall give less inheritance. To everyone shall his inheritance be given according to those that were registered of him. This verse, I want you to, now, yeah, they're talking about dividing up land rights. But, excuse me. Remember I always say only drink water with me. But, you're going to take this, apply it in many other areas of your life as well. This pattern here. To many you shall give more inheritance. To the many. Meaning what? I would encourage you all this day, you can take this formula that the Master Yahweh gave to Moshe here and apply this to your life. How many of you in this room only want little things? On this earth, you have this life, and you only hear, and you only concern yourself, or maybe your mindset is little, because you're still being manipulated by the mind. Because I'm going to tell you, religion will do this to you. It'll make you only think little of yourself. How many of you know what I'm talking about? It'll make you, you have to die to yourself, and you cannot want these earthly pleasures. Wait a minute, I've been given dominion over this earth. What are you talking about? Simha says, I used to, but not now, Bukashim. Thank you to the universe, Simha, for that. They'll tell you, you don't want to be, seeking all of the riches of this world and all these pleasures and this, that, the other, and the third. You have to let go. You have to die to yourself. And you have to give up everything. And God will love you more. And you'll have more riches in the world to come. That's a bunch of mumbo-jumbo. You ever wonder why you was always questioning in your prayers back in the day? How come the Joneses have all that stuff? And I don't. And I'm serving you, God. How many of you remember those days? Oh, well, why the Joneses have that? They got a big house, they got the cars. I always wanted that big house. And and they don't even go to church. But I'm going to church, and I'm doing what the pastor said, and I'm still living in this shack over here. I've got 2 hoopties in the driveway, and I can't make $1 out of 15 cents. And you wonder why. See? So, just like, look at this verse right here. To many you shall give the more inheritance. So the many are going to get more. Like I'm telling you, this principle in our history, you can take this and apply it. If the many will get more, and the less will get fewer. So you got to have the mentality of many. I want many. I want many money. I want many children. Remember, the mandate given to humans and animals is to go forth, be fruitful, and multiply, not subtract. How many of you good with multiplication? You should be. That's a part of you. You want to multiply. You don't want to subtract. But in the mentality of our thinking, because we've been conditioned, and some of us just ignorantly, because we just don't know. We've been subtracting our whole life. Oh no, I can't have that car. Oh man, I can't pay my bills. I can't ever have that wife. That kind of wife, that's only in my dreams. I'll never get that job. You're subtracting from yourself. Subtracting. The many will get more. That's the formula for Israel. Many will get more inheritance. Many will get more blessing. You have to many. When you go before the Father, with your wants and needs, you can have many needs. You just don't need to have one. Baruch Hashem. Thank you, universe. That's the mentality of a child. Children always want more, right? Oh, give me some more. More. I hear these little babies. More. They do the little hand gesture. More. Pretty not trying to be doing the same thing when it comes to chocolate. Well, if anything like his father. More. And then I got my wife over here. She's chocolate control. Stop. That's it. Enough. No more chocolate. That's reeled in Willy Wonka over here, really. Chocolate. Honey, why you eating chocolate? You're chocolate. I said, honey, that's in my DNA. That's my DNA. That's it. I just tell her that's in my DNA. Chocolate, that's just me. But, the wife over here, reeling in Willy Wonka over here. But Willy Wonka's going to be Willy Wonka. Willy Wonka loves chocolate. Chocolate makes Willy Wonka happy. That's what Willy Wonka does. Eat chocolate. I love chocolate. More. You can have more chocolate. More money. More health. More wealth. More riches. More relationship. More. Always want more. Never settle. Some of you, all of you are getting your desires met. You're seeing your attractive things. Are you stopping now that you're attracted to some things in your life? Please tell me you're not stopping. Don't tell me. Don't tell me that you're studying this, Papa. Now it's more. Right? Now you say, wow, your perfect law, this is where it's at. I'm connected to the universes now, to the creator of the heavens and the universe. Oh, yeah. Give me more. How many of you said, oh, stop. Oh, that's just way too much. Oh, pump the brakes. God of Israel, I don't need any more. But the God of Israel says, no, you're blessed. It's already, you're preordained. You're blessed. That's more. But what happens is, when you look at the Numbers 26, verse 54, to many you shall give more. You shall give the more inheritance. To the few you shall give less inheritance. Kohen talked about this during his lecture as well. Those that lack. Now, I'm telling you, I'm opening up my life a little bit. I'm going to tell you something for a minute. When Kohen would he came to my house and told me, look, you need to have children. I'm thinking that there's just no way I'm going to have any children. My mind couldn't process that because I'm with a woman that can't have children. I didn't process divorce and everything that came down with it. And do you know, at this time right now, that was like, oh my goodness, that was like, ooh, wow. It was like close to 8.5 years ago. And now that chapter has finally closed. As of this month, it's closed completely. That chapter of the marriage, everything, that's all closed up. But during those 8-year spans, listen, I'm going to let you know right here, it's not all bells and whistles and beautiful. You have to go through your peaks and your valleys, your highs and your lows. But through all of that, you got to stay consistent. That's where faith comes in. You got to believe. And I believe. Then he told me I had to go to the East. I ain't never been to China. Only thing I knew about China was Kung Fu movies that I see on TV. I love Kung Fu. Love Bruce Lee. That's all I knew about China. I never in my wildest dreams would think that I would go to China. But the Kohen said you're going to get a wife from the East. Now, I'm thinking, well, is that east of San Antonio? Which could be one. I'm like, east of San Antonio? Florida's east of San Antonio. Louisiana's east of San Antonio. what is this east? You know what I mean? No, a woman from the east. And sure enough, right now, that woman is in my bedroom right now. He said, you're going to have a son. You need to have a son. And you know what? The son is in the oven right now. Going to be born in September. Lucas. Just a kicking in there, I tell you. So I'm telling you things from experience, Miss Bahar. From experience. I'm letting you know that when you connect with the Kohen, Israel, you get instruction. It may seem uncomfortable to you, and I know it has for some of you as well, because your mind cannot be beyond what was told to you. And your mind automatically goes into defensive mode. This is why you got to come out of the mind and you got to connect to your subconscious. So very important. I didn't know I was connected to my subconscious almost 8 years ago, but I believed, Miss Bahar. I didn't understand everything, but I believed. What are you telling me? You weren't trying to hurt me. Because you know what? The first thing my mom was saying, wow, this man's trying to break up a happy home over here. You see what I mean? I'm already mad. I can't have no children. What do you mean? The woman can't have no children. Believe me, we were trying. My mind couldn't process that, but I did believe. I did believe. I didn't doubt. My mind had questions, just like your mind's going to have questions. But at the end of the day, stick to the belief. Believe. It may not happen in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. In my situation, it took many, many years. But it happened just like he said it did. Just like he said it would. And things are going to continue to happen just like he said it did. Just like he said it would. And it will. Why? It's because I believe. I didn't just shut it off and say, man, I'm not going to no China. I'm not going to no East. I might go to the east side of San Antonio. You know, because the first thing you want to do is make it easy. Well, let me just water it down, what the Kohen was saying. Let me water that down a little bit and just make it east side of San Antonio. And he was just talking east side of San Antonio. But deep down in my, I guess at the time I would say my heart, but it was my subconscious that was telling me, yeah, he's right. You need to go to another country. Now, this was just for me. It's not for everybody. Rabbi Kefa telling me I need to go to the East. No, I'm not. To find your relation, to find that woman that you want, the woman that I wanted, I had to go to the East. I had to work for that woman. That's leadership. That's what Yeshua, Yehoshua, Joshua, however you want to call his name, that's what he exemplified. He worked very hard under the arms of Moses. He worked very, very hard. And his work was rewarded, wasn't it, Mishpah? With honor in him. To where the family line was bumped and he was put next in charge. Not Moses' sons. That's heavy stuff, Mishpah. Think about that for a minute. That's heavy stuff. The remnant of the first generation. That's where I'm going next. The remnant of the first generation. When I say that, what do you think of? There's a title right there. The remnant of the first generation. Now, when I say first generation, I'm talking about that generation that came out of Egypt. Can anybody name the remnant of that first generation? The remnant of the first generation that came out of Egypt. Can you name them, Mishpah? What's the remnant of the first generation? The first generation that came out of Egypt. Dealing with this portion, by the way. Those of you who have already read it. Just off of that 80:10. 80:10 says it's Caleb and Yehoshua. Yahushua. The remnant of the first generation. That's a powerful statement. Powerful statement. Because we know more than 2 people came out of Egypt. Am I correct? More than 2 Hebrews came out of Egypt. But the remnant of the first generation is mentioned here in this parsha, Pinhas. The remnant of that first generation. Now, I'm going to read this verse, and again, if you don't have the Abrahamic Faith Bible, you can go to Amazon, you can go to Lulu and purchase this Bible. That will really help you in your studies and really help you understand the history of the Hebrews. Hebrew history. Numbers chapter 26, verses 65. And Yahweh said of them, you shall surely die in the wilderness. And there was not left a man of them rescue Caleb the son of Jephunneh and Yahushua the son of Nun. The remnant. This is all that was left. Everybody else died off, right? Everybody else died off. Now, let me read something here to you that's very important to footnotes that I think is going to really help you. Only Caleb and Yahushua ben of Nun, who represented the tribes of Yehudah and Ephraim, were left of the first generation of Israelites to enter the land. None of the others from the generation made it due to their lack of obedience. Many Christians will not make it into the land due to the same. And those that do make it in with one foot in the church and the other in the world will not have very good status. They will be predominantly slaves in the kingdom of Israel. If you want to be a slave in the kingdom, disobey the Torah, and this is a sure way to get slave status for eternity. Now, according to saying that, I'm going to illustrate that to you for a minute. Now, we're not talking about the slavery that you see here in North America, because you know, I'll let you know right now, in our history, you know, in the Hebrew history, we treated slaves a whole lot better. So don't come with the mindset and thought process of these slaves that you see over here in North America, Alex Haley's roots, because that's not what it's about. But right now, family members, friends, and loved ones, and some of you, maybe in some instances of your life that you're still dealing with, are still attached to the slavery mentality. You're enslaved by religion and the condition that you receive by it. That's just the facts on the ground. But you can deal with it. You can deal with it. First, you have to acknowledge it for what it is. First, you have to acknowledge it for what it is. Now, according to his footnote there, he talks about something I think is very important. I wrote this down. Obedience is being told. Right? The children of Israel, when they first came out of Egypt, time and time again was told to do things. Am I correct? Am I correct? Please help me out. The children of Israel were told for many years after they came out of Egypt what they were supposed to do. Am I correct? Please help me out here. Don't fall asleep. Because this is very important that you understand the premise here. It's the point of being told. You see, this is why a lot of folks are so judgmental, and they're wrong for doing this. Judgmental on humanity. You're judging humanity when humanity hadn't even been told. Israel, on the other hand, had been told. That first generation that came out of Egypt, they had been told and told. And a leader was put in their place in the form of Moshe, in the form of Moses, to tell them and keep telling them. Am I correct? Moses was telling them till he was blue in the face, telling the children of Israel, telling the Hebrews, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. You need to be told. Obedience must be told. I remember at the time when I was a Christian, it wasn't fair to these people I was talking to when they're witnessing and passing out these tracts, telling them they're going to hell when they never been told. All the thing I told them was they was going to hell. You're going to hell. You're going to hell. Too judgmental in your righteousness. And that's what I was as a Christian. So judgmental. Because you wasn't a Christian, you're going to hell. All these other religions, you're going to hell. Here, take this tract, read it. You better get saved before I leave, or you're going to hell. A bunch of mumbo jumbo. It's a bunch of pig water, Mishpah. Too judgmental. To obey, first you must be told. I'm going to say that again. To obey, first you must be told. You can't hold somebody accountable. See, many folks today want to sit in a judgment seat and judge folks and just tear them down. but they never been told about the Kohen. They never been told about the Abrahamic faith Bible. They never been told about the perfect law. But we're judging them, and we're tearing them up, and we're ripping them to shreds. Why are you doing that? Haven't been told how the I am is within you. You haven't been told. This is why a lot of people are going to be quite amused who they see in the kingdom and who they don't. You see? As I was sitting there as a Christian judging these people, telling them they're going to hell, you're going to hell, this fictitious hell, this hell place, and you're going to burn forever. My goodness. Look at what I have been told. See, these people are just still in ignorance. Not being told is another form of just being in ignorance, because they don't know any better. Nobody told them. There's a lot of folks that they're dying in their ignorance. A lot of you maybe have friends, family members, and loved ones that died in their ignorance. The God of creation, the God of the universes and of this earth, you think in His right and just judgment going to condemn them because of disobedience when they never been told? You understand what I'm saying? This is why we have to stop being so, we have to stop judging. Judge yourself, Mishpah. Don't judge others. Judge yourself to the standard that you've been told. And see if it works for you. And if it doesn't, then maybe you need to go and readjust your standard. Or deal with the person that's telling you. You need to maybe change that up, flip the script, find somebody else to tell you something that's going to be beneficial to you, and you're going to see a physical presentation, manifestation of a change in your life based off a spiritual principle. This is when you see a change. When your life, like that little child is right now, is more, and you're receiving more, and you're attracting more, and you're manifesting more in your life. More of what? More of what you want. What do you want? Well, what does God want me to do? God wants you to do what you want. So simple. But many people are trying to find and they're searching outside of themselves for what God wants them to do. Well, what does God want me to do, Rabbi? What do you want to do? That's what God wants you to do. He wants you to be happy, full of joy, full of peace, full of love. So what do you want? What gives you those things? Go, that's what you want. Manifest it, attract it. You have that now. But wait a minute. That's too much to take in. Well, let's slow it down. Everything starts with you. You don't have to run to nobody's building. You don't have to go get dinked and dunked 50,000 times. You don't have to deny yourself. Matter of fact, you need to do what? You need to accept yourself first. Accept self. That subconscious, that consciousness within you. Don't let the mind fix on you anymore. Because the mind will continue to try to do that. Because the mind wants to keep dominance. The mind wants to dominate and dictate you and your life. Tell you you have to run with this emotion today, this emotion tomorrow. You have to be happy today, sad tomorrow, depressed the next day, and blah, 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 blah. And you'll never be nothing. And this is, it's all rope. You come out of that. You come out of that stuff because now you use the mind for what it is. It's a great tool. It's a powerful tool. But it just needs to be put in its proper place. But in most people's lives, as you assess as students of human nature, you'll find that they're dictated by the mind. The mind is in control. And maybe that was you at one time or another. I know that was me at one time or another. I had to come out of that foolishness. I'm like, this is not working. There's got to be more to it than this. And sure enough, there is in the form of the Kohen. Given proper instruction and telling me exactly what to do. So now I'm no longer a slave. I used to be a slave, Mishpah. A slave to myself. I kept myself shackled up, chained up for so very long. Nobody else did it. I'm not going to put the blame on nobody because nobody did it but myself. Some of you right now, you may still be a slave to yourself. You don't have to be. You don't have to be. You just need to change who is telling you you were slaves. And you need to come to the Kohen who will tell you you're not a slave. And you want to obey the creator of the heavens and the universe, this is what you need to do. And you'll find that your life will change. And you'll be happy. And you'll have peace. And you'll have love. And you'll have joy. Because you're doing what you want. Don't run with these religions that's telling you sinner, sinner, chicken dinner. That's a bunch of mumbo jumbo. That's a bunch of big water. The only way you displease the Creator that breathes into your nostrils is that you don't do what you want. You don't fulfill what you want in your life. It ain't about you going to seek God for fulfillment. The fulfillment comes from within you. What makes you happy? What gives you joy? What brings you peace? What do you want? You want that house on the mountain? It's yours now. Believe that you can have it and it will be. You want that money in your bank? It's in your bank account now. Believe it and it will be. You want that beautiful woman as a wife? Believe it now and it will be. You want sons and daughters? Believe it now and it will be. You want a happy, loving family? Believe it now and it will be. You want that awesome job that, others may... And so what other people think? If whatever job you want that makes you happy, you go out and believe it and it will be. Speak it into existence. Want it for yourself. Children of Israel. And it will be. It may take some time. Who cares? My wife is going to come in from China at this time. We're going to have this baby at this time, blah, blah, blah. I just let it be now. My wife is with me now. And she is with me now. We're having a baby now. And the baby is here now. Book us him. Now. Years, what is time? What is time to people that live on an infinite time, on an infinite time scale? Time is nothing. The only thing you should concern yourself with is a mark meter. That's the only meter you should have. Did I meet that mark? Yep. Next one. Did I meet that mark? And keep wanting more. That's life. Is to meet your marks. Make some new marks. Meet your mark. Because you always want more. Always. You're more people. That's who you are. That's what you are. You're people of more, not people of less. You're people of multiply. To the many you give more. To the less you give little. Think about that for a minute. There's wisdom in that. There is wisdom in that. Now, in closing, I'd be remiss if I didn't go here. The greatest of all time, Moses, in my opinion, the greatest of all time. He is the GOAT. The greatest of all time, Moses. Even Moses was a man. That's what we see right here. As we learn. So obedience is being told, and if you're never told, then how can you obey? That's a heavy statement, but it's so true. It's a heavy question. Obedience is being told, but if you're never told, then how can you obey? You see, most folks are running around here, with this premise right here. Is that they think they're being told, so they have the right to go out and disobey, or obey for that matter, but they're not being told. So how are we going to sit here and judge them as not being told and say they're disobedient when they've never been told? Believe me, when you take the last breath on this earth, you're going to stand before the Creator of the heavens and the universes and this earth. And your judgment is going to be just and fair and right. It's going to be based on what you wanted. And what were you told? Because think about it, that's going to be the groundwork for everything. This is why I was doing myself a disservice, going around here telling everybody, "Oh, do you accept the laws of Moses, or do you reject them? Because if you reject them, then you're going to hell." Well, I didn't need to go out here and witness to everybody, and that's not our mandate. Go out here and witness, as they call it in Christianity. it's best if some folks stay in ignorance. You understand why? Because now they'll get a better judgment. Do you see it? Because you can say you were ignorant. You were never told. Do you see it, Mishpahah? So this is why you don't go around here, throwing pearls to the swine, giving out our Torah truths and the Torah tools that we have, going and giving out all of this knowledge and wisdom to some folks that don't want it. And then what do? They reject it. Oh my goodness. Guess what situation you done put them in? They went from ignorance to now knowing. And then they rejected knowing. You see where we're at? This is an important point, because a lot of you, especially on YouTube, you're going to hear this and you're going to want to go tell the world. You're going to say, oh, I'm the ambassador for Yeshua and I must go out. No, you don't. No, you don't. Sometimes it's better that you leave them in ignorance. If they come up to you and ask you questions, then you can kind of open up. But if you just see them at the bus stop and you go up to them and you go in kamikaze mode on them and you start hitting them with the laws of Moses and our history, and oh my goodness, you've done yourself a disservice. You've done that person a disservice, because 9 times out of 10 they're going to reject you. Has this happened to anyone, by the way? To where you were super Hebrew and you had the super Hebrew Kefa on, you had the big M on, and I mean not the big H, and you went out and you said, oh, I'm going to save the world. I'm going to tell all my family members, blah, blah, blah. Has that happened to anybody? And I guarantee you, if it did, I bet you a majority of the time they rejected you. They rejected you and rejected what you stood for. And now, they're going to be held accountable for that. Because they were put in the the told category. You see, you can't obey unless you're told. Obedience must be told. When you're told, my goodness, you put yourself in a different category. Now you can either obey what you're told or disobey. But majority of the people world over have really never been told. Let's face it. They don't have the facts on the ground. And if you look at that pattern, we talked about the remnant that came out of that first generation. Isn't that apropos for today's time? When we look at 2019, when we look at the whole world, think about it. How many people have literally really been told about truth? Let's talk about the perfect law, facts on the ground. Think about it. When you look at the whole world, the percentages are probably the same as the remnant that came out of Egypt, that first generation. Think about that for a minute. Think about that for a minute. When you look at this big world that we live in, how many people have been told about the perfect law? Think about that. How many people have been told about the Torah of Moses from the son of Aaron? Think about that. Think about it. Do you see how fortunate we all are to be in the told category? Now, what we do with told is on us from there. But you're in the told category, believe you me. You are in the told category. Now, what happens to you, whether you obey or disobey, that's on you. That'll dictate whether you're still enslaved or you're not. You're still enslaved by the religion. You're still enslaved by the mind. To where you're told, and yet your mind won't allow you to act. That's what some are paralyzed right now. Think about that for a minute. They're being told the unadulterated facts on the ground about the God of the heavens and the universes and how to connect. And I mean, you've been given this information. You've been told, but yet you don't act on it. You don't obey it. So that puts you in the disobedient category. Now, some of you may be happy with a lower position in the kingdom to come. You want to be that slave for a family, so be it. If that's what you desire, but I want more and more and more. I have the DNA of El Shaddai. I'm a child of Israel. I'm in the family of Jacob. No time did I read in our books where our patriarchs and matriarchs had less. They didn't have less, they always had more than they can handle, right? More sheep, more goats, more oxen, more cattle, They had more water wells. They had more. But even those that are told, many people, they this is just not for them. And they cannot handle it. Like Uncle Eli, this is one of his statements. You just can't handle it. You can't handle it. And you got to leave them to it. You love them through it. And this is why they're not in this room right now, because they can't handle it. They just can't handle it. They were told, and that was just too much for them. So they didn't want to obey, and so be it. And we see all of those men that came out of Egypt. We see all of those men that came out of Egypt. All of those men that didn't see the kingdom, that were promised the kingdom to come. They were promised the land flowing with milk and honey. Let's put it that way. And they didn't see it. That's heavy. Think about that for a minute. All of those men that came out of Egypt, looking like Mr. T with all the gold and all of the, material wealth that they could handle. They look at the process. They came out of Egypt with more. Baruch Hashem. With more than they could handle. The Egyptians say, "Here, take it. Just leave, man. Take it. Gold, silver, take it, but just get out of here, Hebrews. Y'all done too much damage here in Egypt." They came out with more. Out of the gate. And now look. The remnant of that first generation that came out of Egypt is what? Count them on your one hand, too. 2, Mishpah. 2. Wow. So don't anticipate. I'm just gonna put it out there right now. Don't anticipate everybody being receptive of perfect law and how you live your life. Most people are not going to be receptive of it. Most people are not going to understand it. Most people are going to be confused about it. But so be it. As long as you're not confused, as long as you're doing what you're told, stay in obedience and understand. You can have what you want. That's what you were told. What were you told, Ms. Baha? Is that you can have what you want. You were told this from who? A descendant of who? A son of Aaron. A Levitical priest. You were told that. What did he see? When he came to my house, he told me, "Okay, yeah, you're going to have a son. You need to have a son." So I said, "Okay." That's what I was told. I never rejected that. And you know what? That's what I wanted. I wanted a son. That's what I wanted. I wanted a wife that would be loyal to me. I wanted that. That's what I wanted. That's what I wanted. Maybe some of you don't want a wife that want to be loyal to you. So be it. You see? So be it. Hashem. That's what I wanted. So my question to you this day is, what do you want? And let me close with this, because I want to read this, because your connection with the Kohen has got to be key, you see. Now we see the greatest of all time, Moses. We see that Moses understands his place. And get this, look at Numbers chapter 27, verse 12. And Yahweh said to Moses, "Go up to Mount Abarim and see the land which I have given to the children of Israel." Verse 13. "And when you have seen it, you shall be gathered to your people, as Aaron, your brother, was gathered." I love the way the Master Yahweh puts this. He says, "And you shall be gathered to your people." Wow. Isn't that beautiful? In the next life, you shall be gathered to your people. That's beautiful, isn't it? It sounds a lot better than, "Oh, and he died," and or "he's dead, he passed away." No. Hebrews, Israelites, you're going to be gathered to your people. My goodness, isn't that beautiful? Let's keep reading. Look at verse 14. "For you rebelled against my commandment in the wilderness of Zin, in the strife of the congregation, to sanctify me at the Ma'im, at the water before their eyes. This is the Ma'im of Meribah in Kadesh in the wilderness of Zin. Just repeat it, Moshe. Remember, the greatest of all time, Moses, was a man just like you and I. But learn from this man and where he made his mistake here. He let the what? The shape of the congregation make him lose his focus. Understand that. Learn from Moses. He's the greatest of all time. The greatest. Greatest prophet, greatest teacher, greatest rabbi, greatest priest of all time, in my opinion. But even he, when the congregation was struck, he got so angry, so upset, that he lost his focus. We need to learn from that. We need to be able to control our anger. Yeah, you can be angry, just don't sin. Just don't make you miss your mark. Wow, isn't that heavy? That's good stuff there. We can learn from that. There ain't nothing wrong with being angry, but don't let it make you miss your mark. Your purpose. And don't let that anger put you out of disobedience for what you were told to do. In my case, I could have said, you know what? I'm so angry with Whip, and I'm pretty sure some of you men thought the same thing at one time or another. I'm so angry, and women too, I'm so angry with men, I'm not going to ever marry again after that situation I just done been through. I'm not going to ever, I would have missed my mark. I would have never had my son Nakshan coming. Think about that for a minute. So do you see how anger can take over because of a situation? Oh, that woman made me so angry. How many of you thought like that for a minute? Oh man, that woman made... Here I am in my mind state. My mind is telling me, why do you want to put yourself through that again? Woman done took you for your money, blah, blah, blah. Why would you want to remarry again after that? I guess nobody thinks that way, but I did. I'm like, why the heck do I want to go through this again? Why? That's what my mind is telling me. For some of you, you know, your relationship is like being in hell, literally. You're not happy, you're not at peace, and you say, oh, Rabbi, it's cheaper to keep her, so I'm just going to stick with it, blah, 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 blah. And you know you're not happy, nothing working out, neither one of you are happy. So it can go the other way too. But if I had thought, oh, no, yeah, I know what the Kohen told me. I'm supposed to have a son. I can't have a son with this woman. And I ain't ever getting married after this relationship. This was a disaster. So why go back into another disaster? If I'd have had mentality, because I was so angry at what the last relationship brought me through, that I never moved on to the next, to the good one. Not understanding, now that I have wisdom, that I have Mother Wisdom with me, the RSAHK, giving me some great understanding, is that, man, you got to go through the bad so you can appreciate the good. And then you go through the good so you can appreciate the heavenly. So I now have so much gratitude and thanks. And I thank the ex-wife. I say, hey, thank you for the years that you've given me. I say, it really empowered me. And it really showed me, oh yeah, you seem bad. Now, let me take you and usher you into the good. And now, I go in and tell you, I tell Hakohen now, I'm in the best relationship I've ever had in my whole life. My marriage is totally bliss, total happiness, peace, love, joy, all of that. All of that. All of that. So yeah, Mishma, that's what's important. You can't give up. You can't give up. Don't give in to old situations, to bad situations. Because those bad situations are experience for you to get better and run into a better situation, Mishma, a better relation, a better job. All of that, chalk it up for experience. Don't see it as a negative side, a negative force. That's to build your character and make you the person who you are today. Absolutely. But the question you have to ask yourself, and you really got to mean it, and you really got to believe it, is what do you want? I mean, anybody can spout out some words, oh yeah, I want this, but really, do you really believe that you want that? This may be the stumbling block for some of you in your way of your affirmations, in the way of your scripting, in the way of your manifestation and attracting the things that you want. You really gotta believe that you really, really want them. With every part of your being. Yes, I want that. And only you can't fool. Yeah, you can fool everybody else, but you can't fool yourself. At the end of the day, you cannot fool yourself, but you may be able to fool everybody else around. So you really got to know what you want, and you got to believe that you want it. With a belief that comes from within yourself, that subconscious, that consciousness that, I already have it. I believe it and I already have it. That's what's up. Learn from Moses. Moses was a man. Yeah, he was the greatest of all time. But he was a man as well. And the strife of the congregation, as we see in Numbers chapter 27, verse 14, pushed him over. It made him miss his mark. He got so angry, he missed his mark. Missed it. Focus shifted. And my goodness, who has the tolerance of a Moses? Have to put up with these people time and time and time again. Learn from Moses. Okay, let's keep reading. Numbers chapter 27, verse 15. And Moshe spoke to Yahweh, saying, let Yahweh, the Elohim of the Ruach, the spirits of all flesh, set a man over the congregation. Moses was a man. He didn't start complaining. He didn't start whining. Hey, so be it. I'm told, I'm going to obey. That's what's up. If I'm to be gathered with my fathers, then I'm going to be gathered with your people. Just like Master Yahweh said, you shall be gathered to your people. Like Aaron, my brother, was gathered, then I'm going to be gathered the same way. So shall it be. But in the meantime, Yahweh, verse 16, let Yahweh, the Elohim of the Ruach, of the spirits, of the Ruach, the spirits of all flesh, set a man over the congregation. Verse 17, which may go out before them, and which may go in before them, and which may lead them out, or which may bring them in, that the congregation of Yahweh be not as sheep which have no shepherd. Verse 18, and Yahweh said to Moses, take Yeshua, the son of Nun, a man in whom is the Ruach, the Holy Spirit, and lay your hands upon him. Look at verse 19. And set him before Eleazar, the Kohen, and before all the congregation, and give him charge in their sight. How can we mention this? Why are you giving charge in the sight of all the people? Because all the people only saw Yeshua or Yahoshua as just what? He's just this little helper here for Moses. He's been his little helper, his little student. He only helped. Now he's been elevated, just like the Master Yeshua talked about. The first shall be last, and the last shall be first. He just went down here. He makes sure everything is ready for Moses. He's just a great helper, and blah, blah, blah. Remember somebody said in this room, my purpose for environment is to be a helper. The least in the kingdom will be greatest to all. Baruch Hashem. He's just this helper. Now you're going to see him elevated in front of all the congregation, in front of all the family. Look at verse 20. And you shall delegate some of your authority upon him. Do you hear that? Listen to this for a minute. And you shall delegate some, not all of your authority upon him, but some of your authority upon him, that all the congregation of the children of Israel may be obedient. Now, here's the key part that I want to get to that's so very important. Now, Yahushua has just been elevated to leader. This is leadership elevation here. He went from helper, servant, to leader, student to leader. Heavy, great stuff here. To leader. Look at verse 21. And you shall stand before Eleazar, the Kohen, who shall, listen to this, who shall ask counsel for him after the judgment of the Urim before Yahweh. At his word shall he go out, and at his word shall he come in, both he and all the children of Israel with him, even all the congregation. So even though Yehoshua was given this leadership, guess what? Leadership still had to go through the priesthood. Because who has the Urim? Who has it? Does the Yehoshua walk around carrying the Urim? I submit to you not. That's priesthood, baby. That's the priesthood's role. This is why I'm telling you, all of Israel today, you see, you have two types of Israel. You have Israel with the Kohen, with the Urim, or you have Israel without the Kohen and with the Urim. See, so everything still has to go through Eleazar, the Kohen, the priest, who shall ask counsel of him after the judgment of the Urim before Yahweh. So all the counsel, everything. Oh, what are we going to do now? So we're going to do what we're told. And we got to go through the Urim to make sure that we get the stamp of approval. You see? That's what's important to understand. This has been a pattern throughout all of our history, is that Israel follows the priesthood. Whether you're a leader, whether you're a servant, whether you're a helper, whether you're a wood maker, carpenter, the Master Yeshua, same pattern. He would do a miracle and give somebody what they wanted. First thing you tell them to do what? Go to the temple. Go to the priest. Very important. You see? So very important to understand. So very important. I want you to see that. Yehoshua, he wasn't a priest. So he couldn't wield the power like Moses could. He wasn't a priest. Son of Nun. He wasn't a priest. He wasn't a son of Aaron. So guess what he still has to do? He has to go through Eleazar, the priest, to get counsel. Okay, well, what we need to do next? What are we going to do? Isn't again, I'm showing you that again in our history. It's very important for you to see that. But so for all of you that proclaim to be Israel, via YouTube, or however you do it, keyboard warrior Israel, where you proclaim to be connected to the family of Jacob, you must connect yourself and receive counsel from the priest of Israel, the son of Aaron. That's a must. That's where you're going to get the necessary counsel to where you know you're doing what you're told. You're doing what you're told, Mishpah. And once you fall into that mode, my goodness, infinite abundance is yours, because what do you want? That's my next question. Then what do you want? What do you want? And believe me, you'll get it. I'm getting everything that I want now. Not in the past, not in the future, but now. Why? It's because I'm doing what I'm told. I'm connected to the son of Aaron. I'll never leave him. Never. Lost families over it. I'll never leave this way of life. I'll never leave the sons of Aaron. You've seen people here that are not here today, been in this room. They don't longer come anymore. Because they didn't want to connect themselves to the children of Israel, to the sons of Aaron. They didn't want to do that. Not their remit. And so be it. So be it, Mishpah. But the onus is on you. Now that you're here, you're at the foot of the Kohen. Now you must do what you're told. And he's asking you, what do you want? He's giving you the roadmap. He's giving us the roadmap on how we can get what we want. And believe me, you can get whatever you want. Whatever you want. But you got to believe that you want it. Don't just shoot something off the hip. Oh, I want this. Do you really want it? How bad do you want it? Think about that for a minute. How bad do you really want what you want? You gotta believe that you want it. That you have it now. Thank you for listening in. So those of you who may be new, welcome. You're more than welcome to come to this room, this forum, where we talk about the facts of life, and how to live life, and how to live that life more abundantly. Infinite abundance, by the way. And it can be yours. You can be happy. You can be whole. You can be complete. You can have wealth. You can have prosperity. You can have peace. You can have love, joy. It's all within your remit. You can have that stuff now. It's not about a religion here. It's not about a religion, Mishpah. It's not about a religion. It's about a way, how you're going to live your life. How are you living your life? How do you want to live your life? That's what's important. So on that note, I'm going to wrap it up over here on this end. Rabbi Kefa here at home base in San Antonio, Texas. I wish you all a great Shabbat Shalom and a great 6 days of labor ahead. Take it to heed, Mishpah. Don't ever leave the Kohen. Don't ever leave the Kohen, Israel. Israel, don't abandon the Kohen. Use the Kohen. He is for us to use, to utilize, to help us get what we want, and to be in compliance and obedience. Because I know all of you want to be that remnant, that generation, that remnant of Israel that does see the land flow with milk and honey. And guess what? The land of flowing with milk and honey is now. I'm in the land flowing with milk and honey now. Think about that one for a minute. On that note, we'll wrap it up. We'll turn it over to our Kohanim. You all have a great Shabbat and a great 6 days of labor ahead. Do something marvelous and be the helper that you are. Create and make miracles, manifest miracles in your life and in the life of others. Over to you, our Kohanim.
Yeah, Todah for that, Rabbi Kefa. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll wrap up for today, and we'll meet you next week over here, same time on the Shabbat. So have a great Shabbat and a great week ahead. Shabbat Shalom and Shalom Shalom.